Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and JewelsOnHampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
To our brave police officers and first responders, we say thank you for risking your lives to protect us. To all the incredible volunteers who've joined hands with the David Dorn Foundation to raise funds for equipment and services, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. We stand strong with our volunteers who give their time, talent, and dedication as a shield of support for those who rush into danger. The David Dorn Foundation gives a big thank you from our heart to yours. Visit dornfoundation.com and join as a volunteer.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Wall Street is struggling this morning with the benchmark starting the day sharply lower on the heels of yesterday's spectacular sell-off. All of this follows President Trump's tariff announcement, a policy that he is defending.
Asked about the biggest Wall Street sell-off since 2020, the president told reporters he thinks his trade plan is going very well.
The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom.
Donald Trump may be upbeat, but the initial response on Wall Street was overwhelmingly negative. The Dow plunged more than 1,600 points, and the NASDAQ sank 6%. Greg Clugston, Washington.
We do have a better-than-expected jobs report this morning. American employers hiring 228,000 people last month, far better than the 130,000 that economists had been forecasting. The unemployment rate ticked up a notch, 4.2%. President Trump says he's in no rush to see Elon Musk step down as the head of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency.
I want Elon to stay as long as possible. Number one, I like him. Number two, he's doing a great job. Number three, he is a patriot. That's why he's doing this.
There has been talk of Musk leaving the administration in the coming months. Parts of the Midwest and the South threatened with torrential rains and life-threatening flash flooding. The fresh storms come as many communities are still reeling from tornadoes that destroyed entire neighborhoods and killed at least 7 people. 3 members of a family struck and killed by an Amtrak train, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, last evening. South Korea's highest court has removed the country's impeached president, Yoon Suk-yeol, from office. The action sets the stage for elections within 2 months. And watching Wall Street this morning, the Dow is down 1,068 points. The NASDAQ off 487. The S&P 158 points in the red. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Financing a home, especially in today's market, is one of the biggest decisions you'll make for your family. Work with a mortgage company that puts you first. I do. Work with a lender founded on biblical principles like do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. I do. It's Mike Gallagher for the only mortgage company I've used for almost a decade now when financing or refinancing Fellowship Home Loans. I'm friends with the owners, Mike and Brian. I even have them on my show occasionally. I know the care their team puts into every single customer. I can personally tell you that it's a smooth, stress-free process, and that's due to Fellowship's level of service and expertise that puts you in the right loan for your family and your goals. There's a reason Fellowship Home Loans is flooded with 5-star reviews. Whether purchasing a home or a cash-out refi to consolidate some higher interest debt, you can trust Fellowship Home Loans. Start the process. Make the call. 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, Equal Housing Lender. This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, is home title fraud a threat to you? With one forged document, criminals can take your equity. Now, I trust Home Title Lock's $1 million triple lock protection. They provide 24/7 monitoring, urgent alerts, up to $1 million to restore your title if fraud occurs. Get a free title history report and personal title expert access, a $250 value just for signing up. Please go to HometitleLock.com, use promo code BILL250, and make sure you're not already a victim. On this Friday, fear the walking tariff. So President Trump taking a huge risk. not only for his administration, but for the welfare of the American people. By setting up a trade war, and that's what this is, with the rest of the world, Donald Trump risks losing a portion of that war, and that will come back to hurt Americans economically. That could happen. However, Mr. Trump is right on the issue. Since World War II, foreign countries have been taking advantage of the USA in trade. They get far more money from us than we get from them, and many of the countries refuse to take American-made goods. They set up barriers, tariffs, taxes, regulations. They block cars, for example, from being sold, American cars, which is why you had the auto workers at Trump's press conference earlier this week. But anyway, all of that is not nearly as important as your job or money flow into your house or the stock market where you may have investments and Americans are nervous. President Trump thinks he's going to win it. Not a lock. Back in a moment. You don't wait for your car to break down before you get an oil change, right? So why wait until you're sick to get medications you need? All Family Pharmacy makes it easy. Get ivermectin, antibiotics, and more with a prescription included. No hassle. Order online and they'll ship it right to your door. Stock up now at allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill. Use code BILL10 for 10% off. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Good morning, Friday, freedom fighters. Kenny Williams, how you doing, baby?
Good morning, Vic. I'm great, man. We're at a great location.
We're at Sav-On Liquors and Wine here in Chesterfield. This may have some record for the biggest liquor store ever. This is the biggest liquor store I've ever seen in my life. 30,000 square feet. Is that right? That's big.
30,000 square feet.
And we're going to talk to the guys from Sav-On coming up here in a little bit. As far as the show goes, David Stokes is in the on-deck circle. He'll be with us in a bit. Does Larry know that we're not going to be in the studio and we're here and he's there? Mr. Connor's Neighborhood at 925. Former Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft at 941. Susie Moore. J.C. Shepard. We talked about him. We talked with him again about the fentanyl problem. He created a fentanyl test, which I think is absolutely fantastic and groundbreaking. Chat box, yes, we'll do chat box even though we're on the road. And the wheel of audio clips at 11:41. Well, this is the part of the show when we do the Pledge of Allegiance, and there's a huddle going on right now, like at the football field, and it looks like our very own Ethan Way is going to do the pledge for us. Go ahead, buddy.
I pledge of the allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ethan.
Well done, Ethan Way. All right, stop screwing around, everybody. Let's get David Stokes going, heavyweight champion of municipal policy at the Show Me Institute. Dave, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Vic. How are you doing, sir?
We're good. We're surrounded by liquor and wine. So, I mean, what could be better, right?
Right. So first of all, I got to say congratulations on the extra hour into the noon hour as part of the show each day. I might be a little late on these congratulations. But now that you're going till noon every day, I assume you're going to bring Porcelli's Deli back into the fold somehow, right? I mean, you got to make this work.
Well, it's funny you say that, Dave, because every Thursday at or every day or just Thursday?
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday
at 10:25.
10:25. We do Porcelli's Deli. So thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
I meant the extended version, like the 11 and 12.
I gotcha.
Like the extended remix.
Bring it back to the river. Wasn't Porcelli's Deli on the river back in the 90s and 2000s?
Sure was.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that very much. All right, let's get down to business. The Film Tax Credit Program, the Show Mo Act, is back, fully active. So what's this mean? Movies will be made here? That's in and they'll get tax credits for filming here?
Right. And what they're doing as part of a larger bill is removing the end date on these film tax credits. In order to get it passed a couple of years ago, after it was killed 15 years ago because it was not succeeding in bringing movies to Missouri and wasting tax dollars, which it will do again, but apparently we've got to learn this lesson another time. When they passed it 2 years ago, they put an end date on it in order to, I guess, round up a few more votes. And now there's a large bill that takes a number of these tax credits and removes the end dates from them. Now, that bill also does a few good things, such as removing the end date for the limitations on the subsidies in Kansas City as part of the border war legislation. So not everything in this bill is bad, and that's why my colleague Patrick Tui was in Jefferson City the other day testifying on it. But there is a lot of bad stuff in it, especially for the St. Louis area, which won't be benefited from this border war legislation. And you've got this just insanity that we think that if we just put tax dollars on the hook for films and TV shows here in Missouri, that we're going to really grow our economy. It just doesn't happen. The taxes given to these companies are always going to be larger than the amount of taxes that are generated from it. It's a lose-lose situation. Don't get me wrong. It's perfectly fine to have films and TV shows shot here, but why taxpayers are on the hook for this, why we decide to subsidize that industry over hundreds of other industries is beyond me. So we're just continuing this insanity of more and more tax credits as if central government in Jefferson City can sort of plan our economy. They just can't, and it's very frustrating to see the return of this type of central planning.
Well, you know what, Dave? I mean, of all industries to need help, I would think that the film industry wouldn't be on the list.
Right, and they sort of sell that. They sort of sell it as the film and TV industry sort of promotes Missouri. In fact, it's so silly. If you put positive portrayals of Missouri or various cities in your movie or TV show, you can get additional tax credits for it. So all you have to do is write that's probably why in Up in the Air, which is a great, great movie, they had, not only did they shoot it here, but they also, if you recall, had a brief little speech in there about the beauty of the architecture at Lambert Airport. It's a great little speech, but based on these laws, it was probably put in there to get more money from Missouri taxpayers. So you start affecting the art as you just handing out money here. And there's probably people listening right now in the film, the entertainment business, who would think that they're going to generate all this economic growth from these taxes, that Missouri will come out ahead. That's always the promise with all of these tax credits, and so rarely does it actually happen. Rarely it is always just a subsidy, and for some reason people in the Economic Development Office of state government and your local economic development offices too in St. Louis, they think they can predict the future. They think they know what a good use of people's tax money is to grow this economy, and they just don't. And that's why Missouri got rid of the film tax credit 15 years ago, because it did fail. Yet, again, we've got to relearn this lesson apparently, because people were mad Ozark was filmed in Georgia and not Missouri due to tax credits in Georgia. But I say, if the people of Georgia want to waste their money, let them. We get the benefit of it without the cost.
Well, Dave, isn't it a competitive thing, a competition thing? For example, I mean, I know how you feel about all this, but maybe in the short term, let them do this, and then it draws more attention to Missouri, to where in the future we could change that whole philosophy with taxes. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like build up the popularity of Missouri being a movie location, and then go back and say, okay, now we need to actually start raising taxes on this whole thing.
Well, yes, that's how they sell it, Ken. Absolutely. They sell it as a competition thing. These other states do it, so we have to as well. But there's really no limits to that argument. They're going to use any argument they can. So there's this similar tax credit, and it's out in Chesterfield, so it's close to where you guys are right now, where we passed this absurd entertainment industry tax credit. So that was to benefit one business in Chesterfield, which opened up a new recording studio for bands that are traveling the country to tour and practice and train there. It's one business. We invented this tax credit for one business, and they said we have to be competitive with other states that have this same tax credit. Well, there's only one other state that has it. Pennsylvania. It's not even a border state. So Pennsylvania gives this gift out to touring bands and acts that want to practice at this studio, and yet somehow Missouri has to do this too. So they pitch it as competition, but it really isn't. They're just using whatever they can to sell it. We don't need. This is not the role of government to ensure that TV shows and films are shot in Missouri, or that bands choose St. Louis County to practice while they're on a tour. That's not in any way, shape, or form the role of government. And to see, we talk on this show all the time, and you talk as well about the constant role of government expanding in our lives. Well, this is one way they do it. They take your money and say, we're going to give it to this other business here because we think that this will grow the economy. Well, it doesn't. I mean, they're taking money instead of you saving, investing, and spending your money as you want, they're taking some of it and choosing to give it to another business in the idea that they know better than consumers, and they just don't.
Yeah, I happen to agree with you. I just want to play devil's advocate here.
Oh, I get it. They say that. I mean, everything you just said is sold to the legislature in these meetings. It's absolutely what they say, and it's a great point to raise.
That movie that you mentioned, Up in the Air, with George Clooney, a great friend of mine named Andy Kazin was an extra in the movie. He was in like the boardroom at some kind of meeting. He's in it for like 2 seconds.
And it was filmed in Afton High School.
Yeah. I when I tried out for that, I was just too handsome. They said, sorry, you can't be more handsome than George Clooney and be in this movie.
No, they blackballed him.
Okay, whatever. All right, let's talk about the Clay County Sports Complex Authority opening the door for state and local subsidies for new stadiums for Chiefs and Royals. Does this get the taxpayers off the hook to build these things?
No, it's going to potentially put the taxpayers more on the hook. It's all. I know we've got plenty of Chiefs fans in your listening audience right now, and that's what this is about. The Chiefs are looking to move or expand Arrowhead. My colleague Patrick Toohey has written extensively on this at showmeinstitute.org, and that's where there's a lot of great info on it. But the Chiefs and the Royals are looking for taxpayers to subsidize new stadiums for them, either in Missouri or in Kansas. And voters in the Kansas City part of Jackson County, which is the main county of Kansas City, they shot down tax subsidies for the Royals and Chiefs last year in an election. But of course, that doesn't mean the debate is over. So right now you've got adjoining counties, in this case, Clay County, looking to put together a deal to offer to the Chiefs and or Royals. Certainly the state of Kansas has absolutely made offers of tax subsidies to the Chiefs. I don't know if they've made an offer to the Royals too yet, but absolutely to the Chiefs to entice them over to Kansas, totally in violation of the border war agreement between the Missouri and Kansas to limit cross-state subsidies. And this is just the game that's being played. I personally think, and again, Patrick Toohey in our office is the main expert on this, the Royals and the Chiefs are happy to have all these different governments give them all these offers because it will help them go back to the city of Kansas City and argue to get more subsidies from them to do what I hope what they want to do, which is stay in Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you talk about these tax credits. We talk about tax credits for the movie industry, right? The sports stadiums for the Chiefs and the Royals. I mean, if that goes through and they're not even playing in Missouri, I don't think that's a good thing.
Right. No politician wants to be the one on the hook for a sports team leaving Missouri. So that's the political pressure Missouri politicians at least think that they're under. But I also think that the average Missouri voter and taxpayer doesn't want their money going to subsidize sports teams. I mean, sports fans, and I am a huge sports fan, never realize that there's many, many, many people around this country that don't care about sports. And again, in the same way that it's not the role of government to provide film or tax credits to see where a movie's shot, it's not the role of government to make sure that a sports team plays in your city. I mean, it just isn't. We all want it to happen. I love that the Cardinals are downtown and the Blues are downtown and the soccer team's downtown. I wish the Rams still were, but I'm glad that Missouri didn't repeat the mistakes, although I guess we tried, didn't repeat the mistakes of the 90s and get on the hook for billions more to keep the Rams here. I mean, if Stan Kroenke wants to be a jerk and move the team, it's his team. I wish it hadn't happened, but I don't want the average hardworking St. Louisan to be on the hook to give Stan Kroenke more money just to keep the team here. And I say that as somebody who was a big Rams fan. I get it's a tough call for many people, but the idea that tax dollars should go to these things is just crazy.
You know what, Dave? I'm going to ask you a question you might not know, and I apologize for that. But where they would play in Kansas, right? If they were to be in Kansas, what's the environment like? Because I think part of the Cardinals' attendance problem is the crime and the safety issue. You know, I don't know how it is in Kansas City, but maybe it's safer for people to go to a ball game in Kansas.
Well, I don't know exactly where the Kansas plans are. I'm not even certain they've gotten to the point of nailing down an exact site in Kansas. I don't think they've gotten that far. Where they play in Kansas City is on sort of the eastern edge of the city along I-70, where both the Chiefs and the Royals stadiums are right next to each other, sharing the parking, which I've always thought was a good idea, in sort of a nice, almost suburban part of Kansas City. So I don't think fear of crime or anything affects attendance at all. Obviously, the Chiefs are one of the best drawing teams in all of sports. So it's a nice part. And look, if they want to build a new stadium, and there's talk of putting the baseball stadium, especially downtown, I think that would be great. I just don't think taxpayers should be on the hook of it for it in the Kansas City area. And I think it'd be even worse for the state of Kansas. Well, not that worse, just as bad for the state of Kansas to put their taxpayers on the hook to lure the Chiefs over there. It's just an insane waste of tax dollars.
I agree. I just, I really truly think that the reason that people aren't going to Cardinal games is not just because of the front office and, Mosaic sucks and all that stuff. I think people don't want to go downtown because they don't feel like getting mugged on the way back to their car. That's just me. That's got nothing to do with tax credits or anything else, Dave. David Stokes, heavyweight champion of municipal policy at the Show Me Institute. Great to talk to you, buddy.
Thanks, Vic. Thanks, Kim. Have a great time out. Don't get into the product to the end of the show, Vic. That's all I can say.
Hey, don't you tell me what to do. Stop bossing me around.
See you guys.
Hey, Dave.
David Stokes. All right. So these tariffs I think long term will work, but right now we're giving all the libs a chance to, look what the stock market dropped 1,600 points.
Okay, but we can't just buckle and say, okay, sorry, we made a mistake.
We're gonna change our mind.
We've got to put the foot to the floor like we normally talk about. How it's got to go. The gas pedal's got to go to the floor and continue, and let this thing play out. It has to play out now. We don't have a choice because I'll tell you right now, Trump's not running for re-election.
That's right.
He's not going to stop this. So we got to do it.
I wonder what Larry Connors thinks about that.
I wonder.
Yeah, Mr. Connors' Neighborhood coming up next on a Friday at Sav-On Liquors and Wine in the Chesterfield Valley. This place is gorgeous. Coming out and get a 6-pack or some wine or something for the weekend. It's a weekend, right? On 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
The media.
101.9 and 94.1.
They lying about what's going on in America. They lying about it.
News Talk STL.
Attention off-road enthusiasts. Iron Bear Customs has the strongest bumpers on the planet. Plus, brush guards, lift kits, and custom cages for all vehicles. Visit ironbearcustoms.com and mention News Talk STL for 10% off. Iron Bear Customs, built tough for the toughest terrain.
Discover Patriot Powder Coating, your family-owned specialist in Pacific. From small jobs to big projects, we got you covered. Visit our showroom or call 636-551-0377. Mention News Talk STL for 10% off.
I'm so tired of my water smelling like rotten eggs. Iron foul. It makes my clothes and home smell, and my sink and faucet look dirty. I'm calling Jones Air and Water Treatment for their solution to this pollution.
Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to your pollution. Call now for your free water analysis at 636-899-1040 and live with clean, great tasting water. That's 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Are you tired of taxes? Then prepare for a knockout evening. Americans for Prosperity and News Talk STL proudly present Towards the Tax, an evening with Mayor Glenn Kane Jacobs. The WWE superstar who became mayor of Knox County, Tennessee, is coming to the St. Charles Funny Bone Wednesday, April 16th. Don't miss this unique opportunity to hear from a champion who's now out of the ring and fighting for taxpayers. Get your free tickets now at afpmissouri.com. That's afpmissouri.com.
No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here. Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
1019-94.1 News Talk STL. Good morning. I'm Vic Porcelli. This guy right here is Ken Williams. I love when you get to come out and you don't have to worry about anything but talking.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with my hands right now. I'm trying to
keep muffing me.
I don't really well.
Stop touching me.
That I missed the whoosh in that song we just played.
Oh boy,
whoosh.
We'll have to do them live. So we're here at Sav-On Liquors and Wines, and it's not just that it's big; it's just classy looking. You know?
It's put together very well.
Exactly.
I mean, if you like wine, for example, we're in front of the main wine area. It's something to just behold. If you were up here, yeah. I took pictures of it. I just posted on our Facebook page, by the way, of just a shot of the wine. It's mesmerizing. There's every wine you can even imagine. And then they took us into the cigar humidor, for example. That thing is the size of an apartment. Huh. And some of the cigars in there, I quit smoking a while ago. But if I was still smoking, I would be right in there right now because you can actually come back here and smoke, I think.
What?
I think that's what I heard. I don't know. We'll have to check on that.
I didn't even know there was this many wines. I mean, how many wines are there in the world? Whatever it is, they're all
they're
here at Sav-On Liquors and Wines. Okay, let's get going here. Let's get rolling. It's time for Mr. Connor's Neighborhood. We should brought Larry out with us. He loves cigars.
I know.
St. Louis, it's Mr. Connor's Neighborhood.
Good morning, Mr. Connors.
Good morning, gentlemen. And of all the remotes I wanted to go with you, you don't invite me to this one?
Okay, why didn't you invite Larry?
I would have loved to had you. I thought you were so busy, Larry.
I blame
Larry.
Ken.
You should see the whiskey and the bourbon section here.
Oh my God! Yeah.
They got a cigar humidor.
Oh, I might spend the rest of the day there if I were you.
There you go. Right. There you go. There's a big arrow. If you're at the back of the store,
you guys are doing a great job, even though you're drinking and smoking on the job.
Hey. If you're going towards the front door from the back, there's a big sign with an arrow that says cigars.
Well, I'm exposing you.
All right, Larry. So let's get serious here. Stop it.
Oh, no. Okay.
So the tariffs, right? I don't know.
What?
I'm not.
What tariffs?
What are you talking about?
What do you speak of?
I don't know how tariffs work. I'm no expert, and I hate when people get on the air and think they are experts. And
I am an expert.
But these tariffs made I guess it's the tariffs that made the Dow just plunge yesterday, down 1,600.
We've got major corporations and businesses that are, they're spreading fear mongering, and the headlines across CNN, NN, and everything. The world's basically coming to an end. I mean, we knew going into it you're going to have this. Here's the deal. Stop and just consider one part. One of the company. Well, let's do it this way. one of the nations that is taxing us 50% for our goods, we're not really going to do reciprocal as Trump has suggested, but we're going to hit them with a 25% tariff. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, they're not losing that. They're not getting hit fully like we're getting hit. We're taking about 50% of everything they've been hitting our goods with. That should be considered fair and balanced trade. And all you've got is a lot of folks out there fear mongering and everything. And Rand Paul, Senator Rand Paul, I had him on yesterday, and I'm going to use some more of it today. And he says Ronald Reagan would have been against this. I want to know if Ronald Reagan really would be against. Now, he was not in favor of tariffs, said they only work for a short period of time, and that's true. He said if they get extended too much, then you've got to support the local industries, which means probably subsidies, which means taxes. But that's a circle that can expand or not. And in fact, I've got a commentary running on that today. It just says how Rand Paul and Reagan and Trump stack up on the tariff issue.
Larry, are you telling me Rand Paul was on your show? You interviewed him?
I did not say that. I said I had him on the show.
Okay. I was going to be like, hey, spread the wealth there.
I would not lie.
I know. Tariffs, they're not something new, right? This country ran on tariffs.
Well, that's
prior to 1913
Hamilton.
when there were no taxes.
And but what Rand Paul wants to point out is that when Hamilton used it, they ended up losing 50% of their standing in the Congress at the time. And that's true because a lot of folks didn't understand it, thought, oh, that just means more taxes. If you don't handle them correctly, you will have a blow up and inflation, taxes, and everything else. But the jobs, here's what's happening. These companies, because when they say it's not just money, it's other issues that block trade, China will not allow certain of our products into their country.
Yeah.
So what they will do, they will go and put their products down in Mexico and Canada because we won't take them. And then it comes across the border, but it's a Chinese product. But they won't take any of our products in particular. And did you know that one of the issues that Canada is going to be hit with a tariff on is manatee? You know what manatees are?
Yeah.
The animal?
Yeah, the fish, the great big cow of the ocean, basically. Apparently, in Canada, there's a great demand for manatee meat. So we are going to increase taxation on that. And the Canadians said, oh my God, I can't eat my manatee. Well, eat.
What happened to save the manatee?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a big save the manatee?
I thought there was. Maybe not.
God, I can't keep up.
Hey.
Yeah.
Well, Larry, I'm watching the morning shows as I do, and they are saying we are on the precipice, the cliff. We're ready to go into a depression. This is the same thing that happened in the depression. I mean, they are scaring the hell out of people. Meanwhile,
that's what they're doing.
And they're saying around the world, around the world, every other country is putting tariffs on the United States. But once we do it, just to reciprocate, and not even 100%,
they were already doing it. They were already doing it. That's the key.
They've been doing it for decades.
Yes.
They never mentioned it. They never mentioned it this morning. They said, oh, the United States is putting tariffs on other countries. Meanwhile, they're all putting tariffs on us.
We are putting basically 50% of what they tariff us. We're hitting them with 50%. That's a good deal. I mean, they're not losing. It keeps them going, doesn't shut them down. They have more need for what we have in America than we do them. Corn being one of the issues, the rice in particular, going to Japan, a 700% tariff. Japan hits us on our rice going in to China. So if we hit them with a 350% tariff, and I don't know where that one stands at this point, everybody's going to say that's so wrong. Look at that, 350%. Well, you were hitting us with 700% tariff. Now, there will be some farmers, and they want to point to that immediately because they know that's a heartland country, the bone of Donald Trump's support. They're going to suffer. The farmers will suffer. They want you to suffer. They want you to suffer. Well, we're not going to suffer. We'll get through it.
We can't grow enough corn ourselves here?
Yeah, that's exactly it. But the issue is, if we have no market for it, then there will be fields that will not be planted and so forth. And decades ago, I remember in Texas, the price of feed got so high, and the price of beef dropped off so much, farmers could not afford to feed their livestock to get them to sale if they could get anyone. And so they were bulldozing ditches, taking cattle to the edge, shooting them, dumping them in, and covering them up. And we even actually shipped some airplanes with cattle to Hawaii because they didn't have enough cattle. So
right.
Of course,
So I don't
Hawaii
know.
is. I don't know. Maybe some people don't know Hawaii is one of our states. I don't know if AOC and Jasmine know that, but it is.
What do they grow? What does Hawaii grow? You know what I mean?
Pineapples.
Yeah.
Pineapples.
The corn thing. The corn thing just astounds me because if you drive west on 70, that's
Right.
all you see is cornfields
Well,
everywhere.
I think when he's talking about those exporting corn to other countries, they put such a high tariff on our products that we can't really. It doesn't make any sense to even sell it to them.
Well,
right,
but it benefits the farmers. I mean, here's the deal about trade.
Yeah.
I mean, you need trade. You can't be an isolationist. You could, but it's not a good idea. You want trade, but we want fair trade. There's the key phrase. It's free trade and it's fair trade. It's free in the sense that do you want to trade that item or not? And you're going to pay a fair price, or are you willing to just bend over and we charge you what we want?
You know, Ken was right when he's talking about the Today Show and the what do you call them? The legacy
Pfizer Media.
Legacy
Pfizer
media. Yep.
They you know, any story, right? Let's talk about the what was the story that they didn't? The election, right?
Right.
Donald Trump, Elon Musk poured $20 million into the Wisconsin race and he lost. Two things they forgot to mention. George Soros put up that much money for the person who won.
That's right. That's right.
And we kicked ass in Florida, won those two elections in Florida, but they don't mention that. So the people that just watch that, they think that Donald Trump's just a crazy tariff guy.
You know, the other thing that's going on, of course, they're going after Doge. Why aren't they complaining about all the money that's being wasted and has been abused and stolen and scammed, as opposed to the guy that finds all of this? I mean, you're talking about crimes in some cases. And when they cut the 8 to 10,000 people out of HHS, they were basically bureaucratic jobs. They weren't really doing anything. They weren't adding scientists or things of that nature. Some might be included. In some cases, the cuts they've made, they've gone back and said, we overcut, we're going to put some people back in. That's common sense, but you don't know if you just go in there. And I've got a piece I may use today. It's a university student at, I want to say Cornell. He used a basic question he sent around, kind of did his own Doge project at Cornell University. Tuition there is now $90,000 a year. So he went around and asking different people, what do you do here? What is your job? What do you do? And they got incensed. They wanted the kid disciplined in some way. Now, the professors could give an answer that I teach this class or whatever, but a lot of the other people, I don't have to answer that. Actually, if you're working for the university and I'm having to pay $90,000 to go there or find money for it, yeah, I want an answer. Why you're bloating your staff? The administration has been bloated, but not the faculty.
All right, Larry. What can we hear on the updates?
Well, it depends on how much whiskey you bring me.
Got it.
Which, by the way, I will say this: the other day when the tariff talk started, and there was mention of me that we might have tariffs on whiskey. So, oh, wait a minute, no, we're not gonna go down that road.
Hold on. All of a sudden, Larry's in.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's 7:30, and as you know, we've already had one commentary on. We got two more to go today, and then tonight I've got guests lined up dealing specifically with tariffs, the good, the plus, the minus, the ugly. Got it all for you.
That's 6 to 8 tonight. Mr.
Yes, sir.
Connor's neighborhood.
And
Thank
I
you so much,
appreciate it.
sir.
God bless you guys. Teetotalers.
Mr. Connor's neighborhood on the Vic Porcelli Show.
What are we supposed to do? Get drunk and do the show?
I love rum. I took Ethan through the whole rum section, and there were rums.
Wait, there's a rum section?
Yes, and I've never heard of some of these, and I'm bound to try.
You get lost in a sea of wine and a sea.
I'll
of
see you
rum.
in 4 months. That'll take
Thanks,
rehab.
Larry.
That's a rehab time.
Thanks, Larry.
All right, listen, day after tax day, April 16th, we are bringing in Glenn Jacobs, who currently happens to be the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee. In a former life, he was Kane, the wrestler, professional wrestler. So be sure you come on out, but you have to have a ticket. So register at newstalkstl.com and watch Glenn Jacobs talk about trying to get rid of taxes, income tax in Missouri.
And watch Vic ask him if he dunks.
I bet you he can. All right, when we get back, former Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft. He's next. live from Sav-On Liquors and Wine in Chesterfield on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Just the convenience on the phone. Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime,
Everywhere.
anywhere.
So listen, our friend Chris Cooper at Serenity Wealth Management, he is the guy who can guide you through some great tax-efficient solutions, because I love one of the phrases that he uses. When you retire, you want to have the lifestyle that you want and deserve. And you say, well, what about this? What about taxes? What about... Chris will get you through it, okay? Tax efficient solutions is what he's all about. You don't want to leave money to the government when you leave this earth, do you? You don't want to leave it to the medical or care community. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but they're very expensive. You want to leave money to your children or a charity of your choice. And that's why you call Chris Cooper and get the ball rolling. Oh, he has a radio show, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
He had a very handsome guest on this past Sunday.
He did, and it was chock full of fun with finance.
Serenity Wealth Now is the name of the show. It's on 9 o'clock Sunday mornings, right before us. Serenity Now Tax.com is how you can get his new holistic retirement book. Serenity Now Tax.com. Serenity Now Tax.com. Serenity Now with Chris Cooper.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Mr. Connor's Neighborhood, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com.
Coffee. No more coffee. Where do you get coffee around here? Huh. Oh, we're on the air? Fantastic.
Are we on?
I think somebody should go get us coffee. Hey, it's Friday. Welcome to it. 1019 941 News Talk STL.
It's Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday. We don't have the speaker. We'll do it ourselves. We're out at Sav-On Liquors and Wine. This place is, if you have to get, right, if you got a date, right? You got a date.
Yeah.
And you want to bring a nice bottle of wine.
Something a little special.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Not just any bottle of wine.
Right. They have everything here.
Point is, though, give yourself enough time to go through up and down all the wine aisles. I mean, if you tilt your head just a little bit, it looks like an audience.
I know,
it
it's
looks
awesome.
like an arena.
Yeah,
You know, it's all
yeah.
people in there, and nobody's clapping for us, by the way.
Just squint and you go,
Yeah. Like, what's his name? Michael Winslow.
right. He did a great job.
Jay Ashcroft, former Missouri Secretary of State. Good morning, Mr. Ashcroft. Happy birthday.
Good morning. Happy birthday. Sounds like you guys are getting the weekend started off early.
Oh,
You
yeah.
bet. I'm half drunk already. No, I'm kidding. I would not do that.
I would not. I would never.
So, you know, here's you can help us with this, Mr. Secretary. Every morning, Ken and I watch the we watch the Today Show and the left wing news just to see what they're
Why
saying
do you
or
put
not
yourself
saying.
through that?
So you don't have to,
Yeah,
because we
yeah.
care about you and we love you. We don't want you
God
to get,
bless you.
Yeah, we're here for you. So news just in, the Trump economy added 228,000 jobs in March, crushing predictions of critics and economists. So the economists don't even know what they're talking about when they come to Trump. So I said, let's just let Trump run the country and we'll be fine.
Well, Kamala Harris gave a speech the other day, and she started off with, I told you so. And I have to admit, she's right. They elected Trump. Jobs are coming back. People are seeing freedom. Parents are in charge of education. Good things are happening. He told you so. And I guess even Kamala Harris has come to the realization that Trump was right.
Did you guys see that they had her speech on YouTube? You know, the I told you so speech. And the camera's so close up on her. And I'm like, if she's that drunk, pull away. Don't get that close. Because she sounded half drunk. right? She can never not drink, it seems.
You know, it's tough going through a loss, and especially going through a loss and being shown that everything you stood for was wrong, and that the other guy was right, and everything he stood for is working. So let me say, I hope she runs again, because I think she's a very good loser.
Yeah.
You know, how about the Democrat Party? I mean, they couldn't be in more disarray right now. They don't have a leader. You know, we found out in the last couple of weeks that, you know, Barack Obama was in charge when Biden was president. We found out that when President Biden was trying to prep for his debate with President Trump, it was like 8 o'clock at night. He goes, you know what? I'm too tired. I can't do this. Let's do it tomorrow. So he wasn't running anything. That's my point.
Well, I'm not sure that prep would have helped him. I mean,
that's true.
I think we talked before about the fact that I think it was elder abuse what they did to President Biden. I can't imagine that his wife treated him that way. Whether you like the man or not politically, I disagree with him vehemently, but he never should have been put in that situation. He was elderly and not all there, and someone should have had the decency to stand up and say, no, this is not right, that we are trying to empower ourselves or get rich off of what we're doing to this elderly gentleman. Someone should have stopped it.
Yeah. And I think that, you know,
Trump did.
Right. But let's just try to envision. Let's just make believe, hypothesize here that what if Kamala did win that election? They cheated enough that he did win the election. She did win the election. Where would we be right now?
Oh, I'd be scared. Look, I mean, there would be no willingness to stand up to China. The only willingness would be to stand up to parents that are trying to raise their kids with an understanding of right and wrong and science. We would continue to be taxing the people of this country with massive amounts so we could spend that money and support China with the Green New Deal. I would be scared for my kids. I mean, look, the United States is still not in the best shape. Our deficit, our debt is horrendous. We've got to deal with them. But at least we've made a course correction, and we have a president that's doing the stuff that every Republican that ran for president said they would do for the last 50 years, except he's doing it.
And that's the main thing, I think, Mr. Secretary, is that you've had Ronald Reagan, you've had the Bushes, you've had Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and even non-presidents saying, yes, we're going to do exactly this, and they never did it. Donald Trump is the first president in modern history to do what he's actually said. He ran on this for 2 years. He told everybody, this is what I'm going to do. He's doing it, and now they're complaining.
Well, I mean, Scott Jennings was on CNN, and they were going after him, you know how they are. And they said, well, Trump voters aren't happy because look at what he's doing. And Jennings was like, he's doing exactly what he told them he was going to do. They're ecstatic. Conservatives, Republicans have never had a president that ended up doing everything he said he would do. I mean, Reagan was good, but Reagan didn't get rid of the Department of Education. Look, I have concerns about the tariffs, but you know what? When I look at everything that Trump has done and how it's turning out, hey, you know what? If he thinks it's good, I'm going to let him try it, because he's moving mountains. And go, Mr. President, go. Just keep it up.
Yep. We're talking to former Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft. You know who loves the tariffs, Mr. Secretary? The UAW rank and file, right? They even the president now of the UAW union, Sean Fain, said, "Yeah, this is great. This means more jobs for blue collar workers." So how come we don't hear about that? I never saw that on the left wing media.
Well, they try not. CNN had Senator Bernie Moreno on from Ohio. Used to have auto dealerships, and they were talking to him about the tariffs. He said, "This is awesome. This is what we need to bring back manufacturing jobs. This is what we need to rebuild Ohio, to have a middle class. We need manufacturing." I think GM has already announced that one of their truck plants, they're going to add a third shift. They're looking for more workers to increase production. Ford has said, you know what? We're going to give employee pricing to everyone because we're all focused on building more in America and selling them to Americans. It's making America great again.
That's right. And that was the whole plan to make America great again. I just don't understand how a guy like Sean Fain even gets into a position of being the president of the UAW. Sean O'Brien, he's another one. We talk about this all the time. I'm sure people are sick of hearing of it, but I want to hear from you on it. Sean O'Brien, Teamsters president, was invited to the RNC. He accepted the invitation and spoke. Didn't endorse anybody. Sean Fain didn't even get invited to the Democrat National Convention, and he still endorsed Kamala Harris when most of the rank and file voted for Donald Trump.
Some of those people get into positions of power and they like being wined and dined. They like the special things that happen to them because they speak kindly of Democrats and because they endorse Democrats. They get nice newspaper articles. The press speaks well of them. They get invited to special events and they prioritize what's being done for them and to them, unfortunately, above what's being done to the rank and file and the people that they're supposed to represent. They're no different than politicians, unfortunately. And we all see what happens with politicians when they forget that their job is to be there for the people of their district or their state, and they decide that they're there to add to their wallet and add to their resume.
I would love to go back in time and figure out where the Senate, the Congress, people that work in government, when it turned around, when they stopped working for us and we started working for them, which is not how it's supposed to go.
Well, it's a process. I don't think, generally speaking, they go to Congress thinking that they're not going to be there for us, but they get there and they like the lobbyists telling them they're right all the time. They like getting to go to the swanky dinners. They like having good newspaper articles written about them. I mean, look at Chief Justice John Roberts. Everybody talks about what a good conservative, originalist, textualist jurist he would be, and then, well, he's decided he likes reading his own news articles, and evidently he'll rule however he can to make sure he gets a good news article instead of worrying about what the law really says.
And regarding Justice Roberts, he's been known now to be hanging out with a lot of extremely left people.
Well, he's become an extremely leftist individual, so that makes sense. But, who you hang out with rub off on you. And that's one of the things why I think what Trump did. Go ahead.
Well, let's talk about the Supreme Court for a little bit, because the left they wanted to expand. They wanted to, pack the Supreme Court and put a bunch of liberals in. I don't hear that talk now that Donald Trump's in office, right?
No.
Packing the court. And even if it was, not every decision that comes down from the Supreme Court goes Trump's way or goes the conservatives' way. Amy Coney Barrett and Matt Kavanaugh. What's his first name? Kavanaugh? Whatever. They don't know a conservative way,
Yeah, and Amy Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh have been somewhat of a disappointment also. They seem to be getting sucked into that idea of we want our friends to like what we say and we want to be part of the social scene in Washington, D.C. That's not the point. The point is to say this is what the law says. The United States Constitution very clearly outlines in, Article 5, I believe, how the Constitution can be amended. There is no section in Article 5 that says the United States Supreme Court may amend by court decision. And that's why what Trump was doing in his first term, where he was actually trying to send government workers out of Washington, D.C. We have some Department of Agriculture workers in the Kansas City area because of that now. We've got to get the government out of D.C., send those workers, those departments as much as possible out into real America so that they get changed by us instead of the other way around.
All right, let's talk about the state legislature. One of your favorite topics. They're fighting for no income tax, and we got Glenn Jacobs coming into town on the 16th of April. He is the mayor of Knoxville County, Tennessee. Tennessee, they don't have any state tax, right?
I don't think so.
I mean,
God bless them.
Is it?
No.
Look at what we have: income tax, property tax, personal property tax. I mean, people are going to start moving out of Missouri as a red state of it as it is because they don't want to pay all these taxes.
Look, it's the only reason Illinois is surviving is that Missouri is creating a buffer zone. If you look on their other borders, people are fleeing. And Missouri, we have too many politicians that just know in the deepest heart of hearts that they know better how to spend your money than they do, and they are wrong.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I don't know how far along it all is. Of course, it's such a process with the Senate and House. But I think the particular session is one that you don't hate so much, Mr. Secretary.
No, I think there's been a lot more of statesmanship and people that were actually working on legislation. I'm not necessarily sure I'm going to agree with all the legislation they pass, but it seems like people aren't just throwing bombs to throw bombs, like they're actually trying to come to solutions. And yeah, there are going to be disagreements when that happens.
Crime bill passed. You know,
Great
we had a
thing.
conversation. Yeah, we had a conversation before. Why aren't people going to the Cardinal games? You know, it can't just be because people are mad at the front office. Part of it's got to be safety. I mean, who wants to go with their family when you have two little kids? You're vulnerable, right? Path of least resistance, and get mugged, whether it's at night. Even people don't go to the day games at Busch Stadium.
We've talked multiple times about how deserted St. Louis City is in the evening, Thursday night, Wednesday night, you name it. When there isn't a Cardinal game, I mean, I've been down there having to catch an early flight the next day, and I'm having trouble finding a place to eat. Just have a hamburger or a sandwich for dinner. St. Louis should be a jewel. It should be a gem on the river. Its position, its people could be great. We need law enforcement. We need public safety. That's why I'm so thankful that the state has taken back over the St. Louis police force. The people of St. Louis deserve public safety just like everyone else does.
You know, I forgot all about that. They built up the riverfront right down by the arch and everything, and they have concerts and stuff there. I think that put the cart before the horse. You know, why don't you make sure people are safe going down to this new place? I mean, Laclede Landing, how crowded was that every weekend, right? Bars and everything else, and it's deserted now. And Ken's nephew is a police officer in a pretty sketchy area of the city.
Yeah, District 6.
Overnight.
Mm.
He doesn't want to go anywhere. He wants to stay there. God bless him. But, you know, nobody wants to be a cop anymore.
It's really difficult, and it's simple to solve it. Support our law enforcement, give them the tools and the resources they need, back them when they do what they have to do, give parents real freedom when it comes to education. So when families are thinking about where to move, they don't say, well, we can't go to St. Louis, we can't afford to send our kids to private school. Make sure that they can have their kids well educated, and get rid of the earnings tax. You do those three things, and St. Louis will become a great city again. It's that easy. We just need the political will in Jefferson City to override St. Louis City and say, no, we're going to do what's best for your people, even when the elected leadership of the St. Louis City refuses to.
St. Louis Blues on fire, huh?
Yes. 10 in a row. I mean, this is awesome. I'm just so happy.
They might squeeze into the playoffs. That would be great.
Hey,
Battlehawks.
they're in the wild card right now. Battlehawks doing great.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for your time. Happy birthday. Have a great weekend.
Happy birthday. God bless you.
God bless you, too.
It's his birthday every week. All right, it's a Friday. We are out at Sav-On Liquors and Wine, and boy, oh boy, this place is just, it's enormous, okay? The racks and racks of wine. I've only seen this section of the place. I got to walk over down that side at the break here and see what it looks like down there.
And if you're a beer drinker, they have every beer you can think of in the beer cave.
You know what? When it's hot, 100 degrees in
yeah,
St. Louis, no better place. Just check in with the beer cave where it's 38 degrees.
That's what I told Ethan. I said, when it's hot outside, just come on in here and just explore the beer cave.
Love it. Absolutely love it. All right, coming up next, Susie Moore, Deputy Managing Editor of RedState.com. We'll see what she wrote about and some other great stories on Red State, too, that I want you to hear about. Don't forget, 228,000 jobs in March, thanks to the Trump economy. So when these tariffs prove to be a good thing, it's going to be good. Right?
Oh, yeah.
All right, take some time for news. Then we're back. 1019-94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
On Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Join the 10th annual Jeff Hansen Memorial Foundation Sporting Clay event, a day of remembrance and support for our veterans. Saturday, May 17th at Black Hawk Valley Hunting Preserve in Old Monroe. Compete individually or as a team. Breakfast, lunch, and shells included. By participating, you're not just shooting clay, you're supporting Freedom 13 and our veterans. Reserve your spot by May 9th. Learn more and register today at jeffhansenmemorialfoundation.com.
Jamie Allman here, tossing and turning over retirement worries. You're not alone. 3 out of 4 Americans share your concern about having enough saved. But here's the thing. A comfortable retirement isn't out of reach, even if you're planning for 30 or 40 years ahead. Every day, Jeff Portman from the Gemini Wealth Group helps people avoid the critical mistakes that can derail their retirement. Build your path to financial confidence. Visit GeminiWealthGroup.com or call Jeff directly at 314-888-0123.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Anxious times. If you're a stockholder, Wall Street continues to sink following yesterday's major sell-off, but the economic news, not all doom and gloom this morning. The Labor Department's latest jobs report is in.
U.S. employers added 228,000 jobs last month. The hiring numbers were up from 117,000 in February and nearly double the expected number of 130,000 for March. Workers' average hourly earnings were up 0.3% from February, about what economists had expected. Year over year, hourly pay is up 3.8%. The unemployment rate last month ticked up to 4.2%. George Williams reporting.
And speaking of jobs, a staff shakeup involving intelligence and national security employees. White House correspondent Greg Clugston.
The Trump administration fired the top 2 officials at the National Security Agency, including the director, who also headed the Pentagon's U.S. Cyber Command. And President Trump acknowledged the firing of several White House National Security Council officials. The shakeup came a day after far-right activist Laura Loomer met with the president to discuss staff loyalty. He said Loomer sometimes offers advice, but claimed she had nothing to do with the recent firings. Greg Clugston, Washington.
More bad weather in the forecast for a wide swath of the South, the Midwest, parts of the East. Earlier this week, storms killed 5 people in Tennessee, 1 each in Indiana and Missouri. Tragedy in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. 3 members of a family struck and killed by an Amtrak train last evening. South Korea will be holding a presidential election within 2 months. The nation's constitutional court has removed impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol from office. On Wall Street, stocks are sharply lower. The Dow is down about 1,300 points. The Nasdaq off 766. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free, no-risk consultation. 800-292-7875. 800-292-7875. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Rounds of rain and storms today into Saturday, a concern of flash flooding along with some river flooding along the smaller streams. In addition to all that, we could see a few strong to severe storms today, mainly from the afternoon into the evening. 59 for the high, very little sunshine breaking through. A lull in the heavier rain tonight, down to 47. No severe storms Saturday, but another wave of rain, chilly and wet with a high of 53. Some spotty light showers Sunday, even cooler at 52. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, hour number 2 of 3. We're ready to roll. Thanks to Ken Williams. We're out at Sav-On. You know what, Ken? We're at Sav-On, liquors, wines, and we should say, and cigars.
Oh, you have to.
I just took a little tour around the place. I didn't realize that this wine thing goes on for another couple of aisles.
Yeah.
So it's not just this gigantic display of aisle after aisle of wines. There's more that way. And of course, the humidor in the front is just amazing.
Yeah, it's like, if you can imagine a small apartment, that's a humidor.
Right.
It has all the facility, all the, I guess, the equipment to make it humid.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I guess.
Yeah.
So when you go over somebody's house or apartment, you say, "Hey, can you give me a tour of the apartment?" Sure. Here are the cigars, and then over here, his cigars.
Cigars.
And there's more cigars.
Oh,
over
there's
here.
some special cigars over here.
Here's the Larry Connors Memorial section of cigars.
Right.
All right, it's Friday. That means it's time for Smoozy Q.
Oh, Susie Q, baby, I love you. Susie Q.
I'm the boss. How about that?
Good morning, Susie Moore, Deputy Managing Editor of RedState.com. How are you?
Good morning, Vic. I'm well. How are you?
Doing good. Hey, I'm in a liquor store.
Right.
How
Could you be better?
That's right.
I feel like Eddie Valiant in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the liquor store guy. He knew.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so let's talk about some of the stuff that you wrote specifically, Susie. I'm intrigued by the headline of "Mute You Very Much." What does that mean?
Yeah, that's my morning minute from today, which is the piece that I write every weekday morning, kind of with a rundown of everything that's going on, like on Capitol Hill and in the White House and in the courts. But then I also include a little section that I call my morning musing, and it could be about anything, but today it just happens to be about the lovely option of the mute button on Twitter. I employed it last night after someone really annoyed me, and I was really, feeling grateful for the fact that Twitter or X, allows us, you can mute particular terms. If you don't want to, for instance, read a whole bunch of tweets about tariffs for a given day, you just want to take a break from that, or you can mute particular accounts, and it's not the same as blocking them. It's not that drastic. It just means you're not going to see their baloney in your timeline, and it's nice.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think customizing what you get to see is, news hound's dream, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So let's talk about Matt Taibbi and this $10 million lawsuit. Is he going to win that, or is it already over? Where's that at?
Oh, it's not already over. He just filed it yesterday. And I don't know that there's going to be a quick settlement there, but yeah. So you and I have talked about this many times about our love for congressional hearings, and I was watching the one on Tuesday where he and Nina Jankowicz, Scary Poppins, testified before a subcommittee, a House subcommittee. It was supposed to be about censorship, but when they started the hearing, the ranking member, this Sydney Comliger Dove, I'm not really familiar with her. She hasn't really been front and center before this, but she's the ranking member of that subcommittee, and she started her opening statement by attacking Taibbi and referring to him as a serial sexual harasser.
What?
Right. And that was my reaction too. In fact, I swore on Twitter. I was like, with an acronym, like, what the heck is going on? And of course, Congress members are protected by this speech and debate clause, which means things that they say while on the floor in the course of their legislative activity are protected speech. So they can't be sued for defamation, that sort of thing. And Taibbi kind of just sat there and took it. You could see the look on his face, like, really, she's doing this? But he didn't really say anything to address it or defend it. But this idiot, he subsequently to the hearing went out and retweeted the video of her saying it with a comment about, like, oh, it's very telling that he couldn't bother to respond to what I said. So she shared it on social media, on Twitter and on Blue Sky, and she put it on her congressional homepage. And guess what? That's not protected by the speech and debate clause. So Taibbi turned around and sued her for libel, seeking $10 million in damage and punitive damages on top of that. So I say good for him.
Yeah,
Good for him. Yeah, that's the way that they're going to be able to attack that type of thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was stunning to me that she did it to begin with. I just thought it was so disproportionate. I mean, it's fine if you want to say that he's biased or you don't consider him credible, but to just attack somebody like that and with complete bogus, fabricated insinuations. I mean, she was just flat out wrong on that. Long ago, there was like a satirical book written by a buddy of his, and there was like an offhanded joke or bit segment in there where it was about him being, harassing women, but it was satirical, and everybody that wrote about it at the time had to go back and retract their comments when it became clear that that was not something that had actually happened.
So as soon as I step off that dais, no more protection from prosecution for saying something, right? Not prosecution, but lawsuits, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, if they're in the House chamber and they're conducting legislative business, so she could have been like maybe standing at so it's not just on the dais, but once they're outside the chamber and once they're not conducting legislative business, which tweeting about it isn't, no, then they are not afforded that protection. There's a Supreme Court case right on point on that. So, I mean, her attorneys may come up with some novel way to try and get out of it, but I think she's in the soup.
I just learned about what you're talking about during the first Trump impeachment hearing when Adam Schiff, he tried to make it sound like he was quoting Trump and sorry, I'm going to tell you this 7 times. Find me dirt and find the fact. You know what I mean? I was like, how is that legal? And then I found out that's why they can't be held for anything when they're up there. So what's Nina Jankowicz do? What in the hell? Why was she there?
To be an insufferable prig, I think. She was there.
You don't like her, I guess.
Wow.
I can't stand her. I didn't like her to begin with, but after watching her testify on Tuesday, I really don't like her. And I mean, I try not to just throw insults around willy-nilly, but she was there as the minority witness. In other words, the Democrats invited her to be their witness. And the whole sum total of her testimony was, it's all made up. There's no such thing as censorship. It's a bunch of baloney. And I'm going to tell you exactly why that is in the most annoying and obnoxious fashion that I possibly can.
I'm surprised she didn't sing her testimony.
She just about did. She was smug and smarmy and just, she was insufferable.
So was she sitting there next to Matt Taibbi?
Right next to him, yep.
Wow. What was the tension like?
No kidding.
I don't know, but he has a podcast with Walter Kern that comes out on Fridays, so I'm sure there's out for this week, and I suspect that they're probably going to talk about that hearing and the lawsuit during that their podcast.
Yeah. So before I get into all right, hold on. Before I get into the Wisconsin thing, I wanted to say that censorship. There's censorship. I think censorship by omission. I don't know if that's a real thing, but I guess that. So the Wisconsin story does fit right into that. The next day after the election, on the Today Show, said Elon Musk threw $20 million at the conservative candidate and he lost. But they didn't mention that George Soros threw more money than that at the Democratic candidate and she won. Like they never mentioned the name George Soros. Is he really a guy? Does NBC News think he's not really a person?
Well, he's not a person that they feel any need to take aim at. I think they, agree with and are appreciative of his financial support and the many endeavors that he has his gnarled little fingers into. So they're not going to criticize him in any way. And yeah, it's not censorship, but it's a lie by omission. It's, they're not telling the full story. They're only presenting the half that supports their view.
And he hasn't been doing this for a week or 2 weeks. He's been doing it for years. I've never heard his name ever spoken in the mainstream media ever.
The only time it ever gets brought up by the mainstream media is to defend against criticisms of him and to claim that is anti-Semitism because he happens to be Jewish by heritage.
Right. I don't know. I just sometimes the world just doesn't make any sense to me. When you watch the TV and one side says one thing and then the other side says the other thing, and there's never both saying the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like
never the twain shall meet. Yeah, that's
right.
You need to pay real close attention. If you ever see both sides agreeing on something, it's either something like the completely legit or completely scary.
Right. So the Trump administration added 282,000, I think it is, jobs in March. That's pretty good. I didn't hear anything about that on the Today Show.
Yeah, well, those numbers just came out this morning, but they probably, I don't know if the Today Show mentioned them or not. That was definitely better than expected because I think they were predicting like 140,000 or some odd, so it was double that. So those are good jobs numbers, and of course, the Trump administration is pointing that out while everybody else is screaming and pulling their hair out, focusing on the market because the market is reacting very passionately, shall we say, to the tariff situation.
I watched that Dow dive yesterday. I was so upset. Oh my God, 1,600. So I don't know. I mean, if this tariff thing, I'm not an expert on tariffs. I hate people on the radio think they are and they talk about it like they are. But I mean, let's hope it turns around.
Yeah, I'm firmly in the wait and see camp. I understand why people are concerned. I just don't pretend to know enough about it to be able to say. And very few people have a crystal ball and can say for sure how it's going to shake out. But I do think that there's a reasoning behind it, and I hope their reasoning is right and is borne out.
So since Kash Patel has taken over the FBI, I don't know if those job numbers include people that are going to enlist. Is enlist the right word? Into the FBI?
Well, apply for, yeah. It's not military, but yeah.
Right. But I mean, that's I think that says a lot that maybe people have more trust in the FBI now, right?
Right. People are much more interested in and just like we're seeing with military recruiting, people are much more interested in those roles now that they feel like they have an administration in place and leadership that they want to work behind.
Now, with that being said, I'm pretty sure during the campaign and even after the campaign, after President Trump was reelected and Kash Patel was interviewed and he said, oh, yeah, I've seen all the JFK files. There's a lot of stuff there. And then it just kind of died. I mean, something as significant as the JFK assassination has been swept under the rug. I want some answers.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that. I feel like there's been one of the, I guess if I'm going to level of criticism at the administration and some of the cabinet is that there's been some over-promising and under-delivering in terms of documents where you're talking, like you said, about the JFK stuff. The whole thing with the binder thing at the White House, that just didn't roll out well. And I appreciate the enthusiasm and I appreciate the like, hey, we're going to address this, but then you need to address it. And I mean, the JFK files are a little hard for anyone to get their arms around. There's, millions of documents and many of which were just released recently. I mean, a lot of it was already out there. And I know that there are people and organizations that are sifting through them, but in terms of like having a smoking gun, no pun intended, we're not seeing that. And I think that's what some people were hoping to see, just like some people were hoping to see a list regarding Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. But let's stay on JFK for just a second. Because Kash Patel was like, I've seen all the JFK files. I mean, he really made me think that when he gets in there and we see these files, that we're going to know exactly where they were in the grassy knoll behind the white fence, what Lyndon Johnson had to do about it. And there's got to be something in there that somebody's still holding back on.
I mean, it's hard to tell. It's hard to know if he was overhyping it when he said that, or if there's something specific he was referring to that just hasn't really been highlighted since they've been released. I don't know. I do think one of the biggest dangers for anyone in public life, though, is to get to that point where you overpromise and underdeliver. So if you're going to make a big promise and a bold promise, you've got to be willing you've got to be able to deliver on it.
All right. While we're talking about promises, let's talk about the Epstein list. Pam Bondi said she's got the names. She sent them over to Kash Patel, I think. And of all things to hold back on, where is the Epstein list?
Well, not only that, Susie, but she said it's on my desk. I've read it. I'm disgusted, and I'm gonna put it out there for you immediately.
Well, where the hell is it?
Right. So that was the whole thing with the White House and the binders. So for the one thing that people, I think, expect, but that might be misguided, is that there is a quote unquote list, like a black book. What they're referring to when they're talking about the Epstein files is basically all of the evidence and documents that were accumulated over the years in investigating him. So that's like a whole, trove of documents. It's not like one compiled list. That said, yes, Bondi did the same thing. She said, "I've got this on my desk," and they made a big to-do about it. And then when they released it, most of it had already been out there. So I just feel like, in their enthusiasm to be like out front and rah regarding the administration, sometimes these cabinet officials are getting out over their skis, and they've got to be careful about that.
Yeah.
So Dan Bongino, when he was on our station doing a radio show, what was his big phrase, right? Cutesy time is over.
Right.
Is it still over? I mean, he's there now. He's the assistant FBI director. You'd think we'd hear something from him.
Well, you do hear stuff from him. I mean, he puts out, I think, pretty much every day kind of an update and try to be like transparent about everything. And he points out that, everything is a process. You can't do everything all at once. But I think what you're highlighting, Vic, is the problem with people that, like I said, that get out over their skis. You get people very, riled up, and they have these expectations. And then if you fall short, then they're going to be disappointed in you. So you got to be careful about that.
It seems to me that Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, they're just like behind the scenes, putting all of their ducks in a row, getting things ready. I just get that feeling that at some point, Dan Bongino and Kash Patel are going to come out, because they've been actually quiet. Okay. Kash Patel as well. So they're the ones that are going to come out and say, okay, we've been quiet, but here it is, and give us something like really substantial to sink our teeth into.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remember too that in the meantime, the FBI is busy actually like arresting criminals, like major MS-13 leaders and gang members.
Yeah.
They just had a big press conference today. The DOJ did, announcing more big arrests. So it's not like this is the only thing they're doing. But the bottom line is, yes, they do need to also, I guess, kind of fill that out for people and give people some degree of satisfaction after all these years of kind of waiting for more information.
I think also, to Ken's point, I think when you are up for a position like, Attorney General or Deputy Director of the FBI or Director of the FBI, I'm going to release those files. I'm going to get those files. And I'm going to release them. And then you look at him like, oh my God, how can I release this?
Sometimes you get in there and realize it's a different task than you expected it would be.
Yeah, huge can of worms, right?
Yeah, but that's all. I think that's all the more reason to release it for the American people, to be completely transparent.
I'm with you.
I mean, I would be shocked about maybe a list, but I'd be like, okay, well, here we go.
And I think Ken and I have made a commitment. If that Epstein list comes out and anybody that we like is on it, then they're
Too bad.
Out.
That's legit.
All right, Susie Moore, Deputy Managing Editor of RedState.com. As always, thank you for your time.
Thanks, guys. Have fun at the liquor store.
Yeah, the liquor store guy. And we should mention your show. Your
Sunday night.
That's right, Red State Radio. This week I'm gonna have one of my guests is gonna be Becky Noble, our fellow St. Louisan.
Oh, great!
Got some great writers there at Red State. All right, thanks, Susie, so much.
Thanks, guys.
Ken, Did they have the
See,
ribbon
Susan.
cutting ceremony already? It already happened.
They had
so that
that.
was cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad it didn't rain yet because it's gonna.
Yeah, that's
So-
really good. I was worried about that. Hey, so are we going to have someone come up here? Okay, great. So
when we come back?
Yeah, when we come back,
All right.
we're going to talk with someone.
Talk to the Sav-On Liquor and Wine.
Maybe Nick or someone. Okay, Nick.
I'm sorry, am I interrupting you guys?
No, I just wanted to interject that a little bit. Smart
Sav-On
aleck.
Liquor Wine. I'm saying the name of the store and you're talking. Sav-On Liquor, Wine, and Cigars. Coming up next on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Number one for live and local.
Conservative talk.
You can take these facts. I know for a fact. It's just about time. It's not now. When?
Oh, there's just so much to say and not enough time to say it or do it.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is our country. This is the country that you and I love.
I'm kind of not surprised.
Man, that's what they need.
Very upset.
A lot of fear.
I agree with that, and well, who couldn't agree with it? It's a fact.
1019 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
We'll prevail.
All right, Ken and I are on Goober Watch. We don't want you to. We're sometimes, when we're on Goober Watch, we got our binoculars, right? We're
Right.
looking for the goobers, they come out of hibernation. We joke, but it's a serious issue with that when storms come, and another round of storms just happened the other night.
Yeah.
They're going to come and knock on your door, or ring your bell, or even call you. Ken got a call from a goober, and Ken shut him right up when he goes, "Is this goober?"
I let him say what he had to say, and I said, "Is this goober?" And then click. And now what I'm seeing, actually, Vic, I'm keeping an eye out for these trucks that have they tape on their window with actual tape saying roofer.
Right.
Like
it's written in crayon on the
right.
side.
And they're only going to be around for maybe about a month or maybe a couple weeks, and then they're gone after they get your down payment.
So the experts and the perfect people to get in touch with, of course, is Connor Roofing for an honest estimate, quality work, great customer service. When I say great customer service, Kathy will call you and say, "Hey, how'd we do?" And be honest, okay? If you did have damage that you know about from these past storms, ask Kathy all about it before you get to the insurance company. Get to them first to help you navigate that whole very confusing thing. It's Connor Roofing. They're at ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
Hungry for lunch? Head to Pop's Kitchen downtown. Monday through Thursday, 11 to 2. Grab our unbeatable $7.99 lunch special with fries. Choose from juicy cheeseburgers, Philly steak or chicken, 6-piece wings, 2-piece fish of your choice, or a savory gyro sandwich. Pop's Kitchen downtown, 1330 Washington Avenue, where good food meets great value. Order online at popskitchendowntownstl.com. That's popskitchendowntownstl.com.
Craving the freshest in town? Anthony's Produce is your daily destination for nature's finest. Start your day with warm, fresh baked Fazio's bread delivered daily. Browse our rainbow of quality fruits and vegetables, always fresh, always delicious. Hosting an event? Let us create stunning fruit bouquets and veggie trays, or treat someone special to our chocolate-covered strawberries. We proudly stock hundreds of locally made products, and yes, we even have seasoned firewood. Anthony's Produce opens 7 days a week, 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. at 701 Jungerman Road or anthonysproduce.com.
News Talk STL.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Good morning. I'm Vic Porcelli. Ken Williams to my left, Joey on my right. We're out at Sav-On Liquors and Wine and Cigars. And Nick is here from Sav-On. How you doing, man?
Doing good. How are you?
Congratulations on the new location.
Thank you.
You guys are, you got one at Merrimack Station Road, right?
Yeah.
Which is very close to my house.
We opened last year.
How's that going? That's going
That's
great.
going good.
Is that place as big as this place?
This is the biggest one.
This is the biggest one
This
ever.
is the biggest one in, I'm saying, Midwest,
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
And we were tethered back here, so we couldn't experience your ribbon cutting, but you just had a big ribbon cutting out
Yes,
front, right?
we just had the big, nice ribbon cutting, and everybody got excited,
Yeah.
The mayor was there. Everybody from Chesterfield City was here, support us.
Yeah.
All our friends and family here, all the vendors here support us. So that's
great.
good.
That's
It's
awesome.
nice to see everybody here today.
Just dawned on me. Amini's is right next door,
Mhm.
right? A party place, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so let's see, what can we go? Let's go right next door and get something
That's
to
right.
drink while we're playing pool
Yeah.
and pinball and all that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. Yeah, we get a lot of customers from there. They stop by there and oh, the store is open, and then it's, they come visit and they're like, oh my god,
Nick, I got to tell you, I didn't even know there was this many wines in the world. I mean, this is like a city of wines.
Looks like we have more than 4,000 different kind of wine. So yeah.
Can you tell us how many different countries those wines are from?
Pretty much we cover every country.
Wow.
So you name it, we have it.
Do you have it separated by country?
We
Look.
separate
Really?
by country.
Yeah, look.
So
Oh,
if you
be
look, the
damned.
wall is the international wall. So
Where's the Italy war? Where's
that's
the...
Italy right there. The second
right.
one, see?
Yeah.
France, Italy.
Perfect.
Oh
Perfect.
yeah.
They
Don't
have
leave out
Argentina, Chile,
Oh yeah.
Australia.
South Africa, New Zealand, Greece.
Wow.
You name it, we got it.
Italy. Nick, I got to tell you, you are the shining example of the American dream.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right? Were you born here?
No.
See? Came to this country,
Yep.
open up these liquor stores, and I mean, you are the American dream.
Yeah.
Yep. American dream.
I love that.
So all the hard works.
Hard
all
work.
the supports. This is the country. You can, if you work hard, you can make it happen. So
John F. Kennedy said years ago, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And you haven't asked the country to do anything for you. You went out and you did it yourself, right?
Yep.
Is this a family business?
Yeah, it's a family business.
So who else is here that's in your family?
So my wife, Alka, she's here.
Hi,
Alka.
And my brother-in-law Milan is here.
Cool, cool.
Yeah.
What's it like working with family?
They both my both good supporter. Alka,
Come
they
on,
both...
you can tell the truth.
So she, wife handle all the financial stuff, the paperwork and stuff. Milan is like with me all the time, left and right,
So what do you do?
Pretty much. Oh, that's a good question.
He's the
That's a good
spokesperson.
question.
No, I mean that in a lot of businesses, that's the way that works. You split
Yeah,
up the
so-
duties so you can really focus on those. Yeah.
I'm a kind of CEO guy, handle all the money wise and financial stuff, dealing with the peoples, and Milan is usually dealing with all the vendors and employees, and she dealing with the money. So
Oh, so you're making Millen?
yeah.
You're making sure that the product's here for
Yeah.
everybody to take
Mhm.
advantage of. Yeah.
Yes.
Ton of vendors here right now too, I
Yeah,
think, right?
That's
This place is hopping. We should probably mention that.
It really is. Yeah. I was so impressed with the cigar humidor,
Mhm.
and then I went into the beer cave. I think that's amazing.
That's the biggest beer cave you're gonna see it. So.
You
Is
guys,
that right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you love beer, and it can be any kind of beer too. I mean,
Yeah.
how many? Can
Oh,
you
we
tell us how
got
many kinds of beer you have here?
Oh my God. So we have the different kinds. Like, we pretty much cover every kind. So like even international beer, you name it. France, Japan, China,
Sake, right?
sake.
Different
We got every kind of beer
Everything.
here. So all Russian,
Wow.
Indian,
So let me ask you,
Spanish,
you have all these choices and various choices, like all the beers you mentioned, the 5 zillion wines that are here.
Mhm.
You're I like that you're taking a risk because you have everything and everybody might not want everything.
That's true.
Right? So is
Yeah.
that tough to navigate?
But you are in a business, so you want to make sure you got everything, because you're gonna see a lot of customer ask you the everyday different stuff, and we have few customer came yesterday and we don't even have that they want it. Even we have that much stuff.
Wow.
What I mean?
Wine?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like my God.
If
But-
they couldn't find something they wanted out of all these wines,
I know, right?
if you came for a wine and it's not here, you're not shopping for the right thing.
And we're sitting in the sipping area
Yep.
right now, so you can actually come in here,
Mhm.
have a little sip of and experiment, like maybe experience something you've never had before.
That's right.
And then you have a gaming area
Mhm.
that so you can sip here and then go over to the
Just
gaming area and play.
Play a little bit gaming.
Okay,
And,
all right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how hard was it getting the gaming thing going? Was it hard to
It's
do?
easy. Mhm.
It was hard to do?
No.
Oh, piece
no.
of cake.
It's a piece of cake.
Piece of
Mhm.
cake.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We can't be happier for you guys, and
Thank
we really
you.
appreciate your partnership with us because we appreciate
Thank you.
the
Thanks, man.
partnership that we have here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what about that Italian section? There, what kind of, give me some Italian wines you got over there.
We have more than like 150, 200 different kind of Italian wine there.
What the hell?
Mhm.
So see, if you're someone who's actually experiencing, maybe wanting to try varieties of wine, maybe
Mhm.
experiment a little bit
Yeah.
and see if you can find a new wine that you're interested in. This is the
This
place
is the
to come
place.
to,
Uh-huh.
Don't
for
And-
sure.
Yeah, this is the place. And we do here like a tasting wise, like pretty much every day we have some kind of tasting going on. We're gonna have some wine tasting. We're gonna start to do wine classes. So
Awesome.
2 times a week. People gonna come, sit down, learn about the wine, try out the new products. So
I
that
think
might
that's
gonna help.
great.
Can they sign up for that?
They don't have to sign up. They just we're gonna shoot out every day from the Facebook and
Okay.
Insta and stuff, so they get
Because I know people find a brand of wine that they like and they don't want to stray from it. I
Mhm.
like my
Yeah.
whatever the brand is,
Yeah.
and now they can stretch out and find something
Mhm.
with the whole tasting thing going on, and they might find a
Yeah.
whole nother new wine.
For myself, even some wine I never tried before, and I've been trying now. It's like, oh my god, I've been missing this.
Yeah, you
Why I
got a
never
tough
tried
job. You have
that,
to try all those.
I
Come on
know.
now.
And he goes to her. He
Yeah,
goes to
right.
her,
That's
and
right.
then he goes to him.
No.
No, I'm kidding. I'm
Yeah, I
kidding.
know.
So, any plans to go any further?
Not so far. Wife want a little break, so, but never, when opportunity come, you always jump in. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So you got 2 different stores to man here, right?
Mhm.
How many people you got working here?
We got 16 so far right now.
That's
How about
awesome.
Yeah.
Merrimack Station? How many are there?
11.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you got to split
Yeah.
your time, or do you
Yeah.
just stay here?
No, we go back and forth here and there. We spend most time like the Illinois side also. We got a new store coming in Edwardsville. We're
Yeah.
gonna open hopefully in June. So construction is almost done. It's 10,000 square foot store. So it's gonna turn out just like this store. So
How big is this store?
This is 25,000 square
Holy
foot.
cow!
Yeah.
Holy cow!
That's a huge one down here.
25,000 square feet of wine and liquor and cigars.
It's
Mhm.
crazy.
What were we gonna say?
No, I was just going to say that, and it's amazing also that you're providing so many jobs for other people.
Yeah,
That's just
you're a
awesome.
job creator, Nick.
Yep,
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the way it
Very
should be.
important.
Like, hey,
This was a Best Buy, right?
Yes, it used to be Best Buy.
This was a
Yeah.
Best Buy. I
Mhm.
mean,
Okay, so imagine you're in a Best Buy. If you ever gone into a Best Buy, let's see how big that is. That's what this is right here.
Right. The
Insane.
refrigerators, right? There's
Yeah,
room for everything
right,
in a Best
right.
Buy. Getting back to the beer cave there.
Mhm.
When it's 100 degrees in St. Louis in the summertime, I bet people come in and say,
Just
"Can
wanna
I,
like a
can I just sit in this beer cave for a couple of minutes?" Right?
Just for a minute.
Sometimes that's the first thing I do when I get out from outside. I come straight in a beer cooler, just cool for a little bit, and then
Yeah.
get out.
What's the
Then go
temperature in there?
35.
35.
Yeah,
Just
but
above
it-
just above
it's
freezing.
35. But when you walk inside, it feel like you are in like 22 or 25.
Yeah.
You're gonna be stay there for like 2 minutes, and you're like, I need to get out of here.
Yeah. When you go in there, the air, smoke
Yeah.
come out of your mouth when you go in there. It's so cold.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
All right. So let's focus on the cigars for the last
Mhm.
minute or so we have here. All right. Let's hear it. How many different cigars? 5 million different brands
Oh
of
my
cigars,
God.
right?
We have more than I would say 500, more than 500 different cigars. So,
Wow.
yeah, that's the biggest cigar humidor I ever see it. And all my customer like this is the first time we walking with this big humidor cigar case.
And it's a functioning humidor.
Yes.
I mean, I saw the machinery. I saw the
Mhm.
devices that were up there.
What
too.
machine? What's that? What's the machine?
Oh, there's a humidor machine. If you see up there, it just blow out the
Kinda like an air conditioner,
air
but-
conditioned thing.
Like a
It's,
humidifier?
yeah, humidifier.
Yeah. Thanks,
Look at
Vic.
that. Thanks
Vic
for help.
knows.
Yeah.
My wife breaks out the humidifier when I get sick.
Yeah, and then when you walk in, you can smell the cigar once that one is on.
Ugh,
It
it's the
helps,
best
to
smell.
like customer, like, oh my god, let me just take a deep breath and enjoy the smell.
Yeah.
And
Our
Oh,
buddy
yeah.
Larry
cigars,
Connors would
so-
love that place.
Yes,
Yeah.
we talked with Larry about it.
Mhm.
He's on his way.
All right, Nick. So thanks so much for talking to
Thank
us.
you guys.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having
it.
us. We
Yep.
appreciate it.
We
Good
really
luck.
do. Yeah.
Thank you.
And thanks for being, the
Thanks
personification
for
of the.
coming by today and support us today. So
Yeah, you bet.
Onward and
Yeah.
upward, and good luck to your Edwardsville location too.
Thank you.
Coming
You are the American dream.
Thank you.
You
Yep.
really are.
Yep.
All right, coming up next, J.C. Shepard, the fentanyl test. Remember we talked about the fentanyl test?
Yeah.
He's going to talk more about that coming up with us live from Sav-On Liquor, Wine, and Cigars on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
News Talk STL. Colombo and Company.
Friday, we'll wrap up the week with the latest fallout from Elon and Doge and the Trump tariffs, plus the latest on our crazy weather with Steve Templeton at 2:45.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
This is Larry Connors, and my favorite sandwich at Capriati's is a Philly cheesesteak with peppers. Sweet peppers, but sometimes hot peppers. I love Capriati's, and so will you.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the Sabos radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every week yet on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Hi, Sean Long from STL Fenceworks. A new fence or deck is an investment in your home and your lifestyle. But how do you ensure that you're getting the most out of that investment? At STL Fenceworks, we know the key is satisfaction. Satisfaction means getting a fence or deck that not only meets your needs, but exceeds your expectations. Satisfaction means working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. Satisfaction means having confidence in the quality of your new fence or deck, knowing that it was built with the best of materials and workmanship. STL Fenceworks, your satisfaction is our passion. And for me, satisfaction is knowing that providing for your family is how I provide for mine. Visit STLFenceworks.com and experience the satisfaction in making your backyard dreams into a reality.
Fox News commentary.
Is it beyond time to bring back whole milk to school lunches? I think so. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
National security is at risk, and China controls most of the world's supply of antimony, a critical metal for military and defense technology. Military Metals Corp is taking action and securing a Western-controlled supply with projects in Europe and North America. Critical minerals are the backbone of modern defense. Now's the time to pay attention. The stock trades on the OTC under ticker MILIF. Call your broker today or go to www.militarymetalscorp.com to learn more.
Since the 2012 Obama era, whole milk and fuller fat varieties have been removed from school lunch programs. This was supposedly done to slow childhood obesity. I'm not so sure it's the milk making kids fat, and some federal lawmakers seem to agree. That's why bills have been revived to bring back whole and 2% milk to school lunches. HHS Secretary RFK Jr. called the current guidelines on milk antiquated and is encouraging full fat and whole milk to be back on the menu for Head Start school lunch programs nationwide. Whole and fuller fat milk might be more caloric and, yes, have a higher fat content, but milk is also a great source of protein and helps build strong bones. Modern nutrition experts agree that fuller fat milk has been unfairly vilified. Let's ditch the red dye, not the wholesome products. Got milk? Let's bring it back. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
This is News Talk STL.
Thanks, little David Bowie for a Friday. You bet. 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. We're out at Sav-On Liquors and Wines and Cigars. It was great talking to Nick, and I know I belabored it a little bit, but boy, what an example of the American dream he is.
He really is, and he was mentioning all the other people that work here. I just think, he's got to feel a lot of gratitude for these people working here, but also they have to have a lot of gratitude for him for getting the jobs that they have.
And I think they all have a lot of gratitude for the United States of America.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He didn't ask anybody for anything. He's just like, hey, I want to open a business and prosper. And boy, is he, right?
Right.
All right. J.C. Shepard, we talked to him once before about the fentanyl test, something that, I don't know why somebody else didn't think of it. J.C., welcome back to the show. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
The stats are terrible. Fentanyl, the number one killer of Americans aged 18 to 49, fastest growing killer of children under 14. JC, under 14, really? How does that happen? How do they even get fentanyl when you're that young?
Way easier than you think. I mean, so there's actually, on average right now, we're losing 22 adolescents per week, generally under the age of 14. Just yesterday, a story in People, a grandmother and mother came home to find a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old passed away. So it reaches these individuals very easily. I mean, peer pressure from, inside schools, these kids think they're trying maybe a Xanax, maybe trying an Adderall, maybe a pain pill, but this is how it happens. I mean, they have no idea what they're ingesting. And right now, over 70% of any pills that are not, bought behind the pharmacy counter contain enough fentanyl to kill you.
You know what, JC? I mean, we talk about it all the time that we count on China, who really is our enemy, to make things like our antibiotics, right? So if we were at war, why would they not put fentanyl into antibiotics to kill people that way, right? I mean, that's possible.
Well, so the antibiotics, anything that comes from China there, it's just the ingredients, and then that runs rigorous testing through, medical labs here in pharmacists themselves. So, but it makes sense. I mean, obviously, China is certainly trying to, supersede everything that we're doing in the U.S. I mean, I can't even tell you how much farmland they bought in the last maybe 5 years. So they want everything that we have, and the cartels, they get paid just to get it in here. So they don't care how many people they kill. I mean, you see they're literally beheading their own people down there. So, it's truly a war against the United States, and it isn't just here. It's also a very huge problem in Canada as well. It's not so much in Mexico because, they just don't seem to want to use that product since they're so heavily involved in making it and they know what it does. But, Germany has an issue, EU has an issue, and there's more emerging threats now too, guys. There's, they've been around since the 1950s, but never used, but there's something called nitazines that are up to 40 times stronger than fentanyl. They're now being introduced because they can't test for them. However, our test can.
That's amazing. I mean, JC, just to get an idea of how severe and how poisonous this stuff really is, when they find out that somebody is actually housing fentanyl, illegally in a home, for example, they won't even go in there without hazmat suits on because it can get in the air and get into your skin and all that, right?
Absolutely. I mean, so if this gets in. Now, skin's a little bit more difficult. Now, inhaling this or ingesting it in any way, certainly that's the most lethal way. However, there are times too when if you're not wearing protective glasses, this powder can get into your eyes, and it's also enough to sicken, poison, and potentially kill you. But yeah, that's a major issue, and that's one of the reasons why we designed our test was for individuals that are in an environment such as that. Police officers, corrections officers, they can just touch our test strip to whatever surface or substance, including liquids, because they're bringing this across the border in liquid form now. And you can dip our test strip directly in there, put our buffer liquid onto the strip, and then you will know that down to 1 nanogram if there is fentanyl present or not.
And you're going to have a test probably for this new stuff, right, that you were talking about eventually?
We do, Vic. We have we created a 1-panel, a 2-panel, a 4-panel, and a 6-panel. Now we're having states get very concerned about the nitazines, as I was just talking to you about. And so what we've done is it's the first ever test of its kind, of course. We made a 4-panel harm reduction that requires absolutely no dilution, and it finds down to 1 nanogram of fentanyl, 25 nanograms of xylazine, which is basically an animal tranquilizer, and that's the zombie drug they talk about, and tranq. Nitazines, which they are incredibly strong painkillers, synthetic opioids that were never used because they were too strong. But obviously the formulas exist, and cartel and others are using this to now defeat fentanyl testing. And finally, we have benzodiazepines on there because that's what we're hearing is the most lethal cocktail now. They're cutting even fentanyl with that. So, and there's a very common misconception, guys. People say it takes 2 milligrams of fentanyl to kill you. That is correct when it's just a singular substance use in pure fentanyl. So if your listeners look at the head of a penny and they cover the date, just the date on that penny with fentanyl powder, that's enough to generally kill every person with a body mass index. But in a polysubstance situation, we're finding autopsies. And what polysubstance means is, it's mixed with cocaine, it's mixed with other drugs, any other drug you can think of. We're finding as low as 3 nanograms can kill you. And that's why having a 1 nanogram cutoff level for a test is so important, because, it's the only non-lethal cutoff out there. What the states have been using is 200 nanograms. And then these nitazines that we were talking about, there's only one other test that exists, and it's 2,000 nanograms. Ours is 50. So, we have something that every government down from, the federal, state, and local have to use. It needs to be in the police officer's hands, and it needs to be, available to the general public.
So help me out here, JC, because there was a medicinal purpose for fentanyl with the patches, right, that they use. So what strength would those be that they're used just for being a painkiller, not to kill you?
Right.
Yeah. So those are the analgesic level, and generally those are roughly 0.10. I'd say roughly 10 nanograms to 20 nanograms, depending on how strong. I mean, those are used for extreme end-of-life pain. However, the HALT Fentanyl Act is going to take them away. There will be no more medicinal use of fentanyl, just an FYI, because it's become too strong. But yeah, that's the 10 nanogram to 20 nanogram factor. And, I know I did a lot of interviews today, and people brought up George Floyd and the fact that they're saying that his 11 nanograms wasn't enough to kill him. That's a complete falsity, because the fact that, again, in polysubstance use, which I can't remember, I think he had 7 other drugs in his system. There were, we've seen a toxicology report go as low as 3 nanograms, and the average autopsy is 7 nanograms to 15 nanograms.
So you must have been on a liberal radio station then, if they said.
Yeah, no kidding. If they, that wouldn't have killed him. Come on.
Chauvin killed him.
I was on a very good show that's sort of in your area on Salem Radio up in Detroit. We were talking about the Canadian border. But hey, real quick, since I brought up autopsies, guys, I do want to let you know that when you hear this number is dropping, down to around 80,000 from 130,000 a couple of years back, that's all fantastic and that's great. There's no doubt about it. Every single life you can save is wonderful. But people really neglect to think that how much this decimates the homeless system and how many times are homeless being autopsied. That's absolutely zero. So you can add 150 to 200,000 more deaths to that number every single year.
Well, when you talk about more lives are lost annually by fentanyl in the United States alone than were killed in the Vietnam War. Are you kidding me? I don't care if you have a reduction from 120,000 to 80. It's still 80,000 people. I mean, there has to be something that can be done about this. I mean, and now Vic, he's talking about an obscure loophole that the cartels have. Why don't you speak of that?
Well, when you think about this, in 2024, only 1.2 billion packages weren't looked at that came over from China. Just 1.2 billion. So, and we're talking, small ancillary packages. But again, we know how much 1 kilo can kill up to 500,000 people. And that's just alone, with the powder that's not mixed with something else. So, if you think about that, even if you said 1 kilo was shipped over 1.2 billion times, I mean, that was the loophole that you're talking about. I believe it's called number 86 on shipping something. I can't remember the actual term, but it's basically, it allows China Customs and the U.S. Customs to bypass any inspections of these small shipments. And that makes no sense.
No, I hear you. JC Shepard, who we're talking to, he is the founder of the fentanyl test. Now, JC, crackdown. We got to crack down. Republican attorneys general are urging Trump to crack down on those loopholes. And then if we ever get a grip on handling the fentanyl crisis, then this other drug you're talking about, that I can't seem to remember what the name is that you just said 2 seconds ago, is going to be the next thing, right? And then something behind that. It seems like it never ends.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest with you, you're working with 2 of the most creative people on earth. One, the drug dealer to get his supply to the individual that wants it, and the drug addict that legitimately will do absolutely anything to get them into their body. So, that old adage, when there's a will, there's a way. Well, there's a lot behind this. And here's the issue. Fentanyl, it's my estimation that there's enough already here to kill people, every single American, over 20 times over. I mean, it's just got flooded here, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. It's great what we're seeing at the borders. It's great that we're holding them accountable to specifically guard their own borders from this happening. But the fact that that was not happening and so much got across, there's just so much here. And here's the thing, the chemicals are here too to make it. That's when they couldn't seem to get the powder across in the form that it was coming. They started shipping the chemicals directly because technically those are legal. If you ship them separately and you bring them across the border, you just can assemble them here somewhere and obviously make illicit fentanyl.
Well, I go to a Walgreens and I when I try to get sinus medicine, they got some ephedrine or some kind of thing in it where I have to sign off on it and I can only get so much of it.
Because I think you're gonna make meth.
Because I think I'm gonna make meth with it. Why couldn't we take these alternative ingredients and make them some kind of, in that situation where you can't really bring them over unless you sign a sheet and then you're on a watch basically.
We live in a day and age where Democrats are trying to allow illegal aliens or people that don't even have a citizenship to vote.
He's right.
So
He's right, Vic.
I wish you were 100% right. I mean, I know you're right on that. That's an easy way to do this, but you literally have, right now, 49% of the country, so to speak, or 49% of legislations and legislators literally trying to get illegals to vote. So you're not going to see anything there, unfortunately. I mean, we saw Texas try. We saw Texas try so much, and the federal government kicked them out of their own state from, blocking these individuals. If you remember, they wanted to put up buoys and things in the river so they can keep these individuals.
I remember that. Yeah,
the steel fence, and the Biden administration said no. So, I mean, if that's going to happen, it would happen definitely under this administration. And I think that's a very easy way to take care of something. But as we know, we never make those types of good decisions.
The amount of people that a little bit of fentanyl can kill sounds like a plot from like an apocalyptic movie, right?
Yeah.
Everybody overdosed on fentanyl, and there's like one guy left who happened to have been like in the woods or something and didn't hit it. But the numbers are staggering, JC, on how many people can die with just a little tiny bit.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I believe it has been used as a bioweapon, but it's on a very minimal scale of what it could be. I mean, they're getting out there to decimate people that use it or use drugs recreationally on their own. It's obviously hurting our children. They don't care. I don't think they set out to do that personally, but this is something that if someone were to dump 25 kilos of this into a town's water supply, you're going to kill the entire town. I mean, it's, and when I say town on that with 25 kilos, I just don't know how much of that's going to break down, and then obviously through the filtration systems and such. But you literally can wipe out an entire city with this relatively easily because of, again, if you look at that penny, and this is pure fentanyl, if you look at that penny and you cover up that 2025 on that shiny new penny, that's enough to kill one person.
And we're not trying to give people ideas, but if you're in a heavily populated area like New York, for example, and you get this stuff airborne in a powder form, my God, I mean, that would be devastating.
There's, I mean, this is my opinion on what was happening, but if you recall, when Trump did I want to say this might have been in September of last year, when he did a rally on immigration in Arizona, really close to the border, there was about 40 of the spectators really sickened by something they said was a powder in the air, and I fully believe that was fentanyl.
All right, J.C. Shepard, founder of the Fentanyl Test. How do we find out more about the Fentanyl Test? Website, social media, whatever you got.
Yep. Everybody can go to thefentanyltest.com. It's not just a place to hawk tests. There's an absolute wealth of information there. There's support groups. There's education and ways to help spread awareness. So, but it's thefentanyltest.com, and we hope you come over and check it out.
JC, it's always great information, and if anything happens here, good or bad, be sure you call us and let us know, okay?
Will do. Thank you guys so much, and have a great weekend.
Our pleasure.
Thank you, JC.
JC Shepard, who had some frightening statistics there, Ken.
We've got to be on top of this. We've really got to be on top of this, Vic.
Just cover the date on a penny.
Yeah.
That'll kill you.
And you know what? I'm sure a lot of people listening right now have been affected by this indirectly with other family members.
And he mentioned bioweapon.
Yeah.
Using it as a bioweapon.
Yeah.
Well, who didn't think that was going to happen?
Right.
All right, we got some news coming up, and then our final hour. That's right, our third hour. You heard that right if you're on vacation for the last 2 weeks. And we'll do the chat box. Yep. Just keep with us at 1019-941 News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here
Welcome
for
home.
Gutter Pros, your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. We discovered Gutter Pros a few years ago when we bought our home and inherited a gutter issue that was on the road to becoming a potentially big problem, but thanks to Gutter Pros was stopped before causing any major damage. They've also repaired the siding on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros are also the best for siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros can help your home at gutterpros.com.
At Complete Forestry Mulching, we're not just clearing land, we're creating possibilities. Brian Akers, owner and longtime supporter of News Talk STL, and our team helps property owners reclaim their land by eliminating invasive species and unwanted brush. Whether you're creating hunting paths, expandable usable space, or establishing clear property lines, we'll transform challenging terrain into pristine landscapes. Our state-of-the-art equipment doesn't just clear, it creates a protective layer of natural mulch, preventing erosion and keeping your soil healthy for years to come. Take control of your property today and save $500 on a full day of forestry mulching services. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Call Complete Forestry Mulching at 314-805-9902, 314-805-9902, or find us on Facebook. Complete Forestry Mulching. Together, let's clear the path to your property's future.
Bengal's restaurant offers an inviting atmosphere, neighborly service, and a vibrant happy hour scene, all in the heart of Warson Woods. From their kitchen to your plates, beloved comfort favorites like chicken parmesan and lasagna to steakhouse-style classics. Slide up to the vintage bar or hit the patio for happy hour specials every Tuesday through Friday. Bengal's Restaurant and Bar, 10017 Manchester Road. Check out the menu and reserve a table online at bengalsrestaurant.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. The Trump White House is applauding the latest job numbers.
Secretary Caroline Leavitt said last month's addition of 228,000 jobs was well ahead of the market's expectation. She also pointed to an increase in transportation, construction, and warehousing employment. The White House statement was released against the backdrop of tariff-induced turmoil in the global financial markets.
White House correspondent Greg Cluxton with that report. Also at townhall.com, at least 7 people have been killed in a wide swath of violent storms and tornadoes that have hit the South and Midwest. And it's not over. Officials are bracing for more severe weather and flooding in the coming days. The destruction is a result of a potent storm system that forecasters expect to bring life-threatening flash flooding each day through Saturday. More than 90 million people are at risk in an area stretching from Texas to Minnesota and Maine. Britain and France accuse Russian President Vladimir Putin of dragging his feet in ceasefire talks aimed at halting his country's invasion of Ukraine and demanded a swift response from Moscow after weeks of U.S. efforts to secure a truce. Correspondent Charles de Ledesma with a report.
At least 5 people were killed and over 30 injured in a Russian drone strike on the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. Fires broke out in various locations due to the shelling, destroying and damaging residential houses and cars. According to local authorities, 7 strikes were recorded, resulting in damage to nearly 30 houses and an administrative building.
Correspondent Charles de Ledesma. Stocks worldwide careening after China matched President Trump's big raise in tariffs. Wall Street again sharply lower. All 3 major indexes now down more than 3%. More at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare, and I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare or you'll pay nothing. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-613-5454. 800-613-5454.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Jewels on Hampton, paying some of the highest prices for your gold, silver, diamonds, and more. Call 314-752-5000 or visit jewelsonhampton.com.
Hi, it's Chris Arps, and I've been a customer of Royal Banks of Missouri for many years. They are a full-service, locally owned and operated community bank with 17 locations throughout the St. Louis area, including locations in Hannibal, Jerseyville, Granite City, as well as 2 locations in St. Charles. Royal Banks offers Missouri a full range of financial services covering all of your personal and business banking needs, as well as access to over 200 ATM locations. Royal Banks of Missouri also offers convenient interactive teller machines that will connect you with a banker virtually and in real time, available at all their branch locations, and those are open weekdays from 8 to 7 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturdays. Plus, given today's headlines in the overall banking industry, it is reassuring to know Royal Banks of Missouri has the highest financial ratings in St. Louis for stability and strength. That's Royal Banks of Missouri, the community bank for your community. Visit them on the web at royalbanksofmo.com.
Hey, Tim Jones here. For 50 years, St. Louis homeowners have trusted one name with their outdoor dreams, Hydro Dynamics. From custom irrigation systems to stunning outdoor lighting, from expert drainage solutions to beautiful hardscapes, they transform ordinary yards into extraordinary dreamscapes with certified experts that work with you to bring your vision to life, delivering unparalleled service every step of the way. Ready to make your dreamscape a reality? Visit hydrodynamicscore.com. That's hydrodynamicscore.com.
SR1 Sundays.
Aaron Dorr with the Missouri Firearms Coalition. I want to remind you to tune in to Shall Not Be Infringed every Sunday night at 9 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. Part of SR1 Sundays at 6 p.m. it's Stand and Fight with Senator Nick Schroer, followed by Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kaiser at 8. And again, Shall Not Be Infringed at 9. And download the News Talk app and listen anywhere, anytime to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
SR1 Sundays.
Sunday night at 6 on News Talk STL. This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by the Trolley Stop Bakery, the official bakery of the Vic Porcelli Show. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, final hour, ready to roll here, 11 to noon. I'm digging this 3-hour show, Ken. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I am.
We'll do the chat box coming up at 11:25. We'll have audio clips at 11:41. And thanks, by the way, for everybody who Kathleen came down, and we met a couple of great people who came down just to say hi.
Yeah, Jake and just a bunch of people.
Yeah, we appreciate it very much. All right, so let's talk about this tariff. It's the hottest topic in the world right now. Literally, right?
Literally, yes.
160 countries.
Right.
You know what pisses me off too, Ken? The Facebook experts, all the Facebook
experts.
Yeah,
those guys, yeah.
They said the only 2 countries that won't have tariffs on them is Russia and North Korea. And that's not true, because it's 160 countries and there's like 183 countries in the world.
Right.
So why did they lie?
Well, because they're just experts,
Because they're douchebags.
So when you're an expert, you're not questioned.
Say that again?
When you're an expert, you're never questioned.
Right.
So no, they don't want anybody questioning.
How do these people know everything about everything? That's what cracks me up. They're economic experts. They're health experts. They know everything about everything, and they don't know anything about anything.
Yeah, I know this one particular DJ that I've seen on Facebook that I do not correspond with ever anymore, and he's an expert with everything. Every single thing. If I mention, I don't care what I mention. He just gets on and goes, "Yeah, well, you don't know what you're talking about." You know, I mean, it's crazy.
I'd rather say I just don't know.
Yeah, and then research it, find out, and then know,
and get some experts,
and get some information.
Yeah, get some. All right, so we're gonna play some audio here in this break. Johnny, if you can get number 2 ready for me, clip number 2. It's JD Vance talking about Wall Street, because Ken, I got to tell you, even though I know it will bounce back, the market will bounce back. Watching that yesterday, I was like 1,500, 1,600. It was killing me.
I know you, and you've been talking about this for a while, and I'm pretty vested in it. And the thing that I'm told is just don't worry about it and don't pull anything out of your account. And I'm with Stiefel, full disclosure. And they're saying, no, just hold on. We're going to take care of things, and it'll be fine.
Yeah. And matter of fact, now would be a great time to buy some stock, wouldn't it, with everything with the prices lower?
Yeah, that's actually what some people were saying.
Not that I don't know anything about it.
Right.
But let's hear JD Vance talking about Wall Street. Go ahead, Johnny.
But we care the most about American workers and about American small businesses, and they're the ones who are really going to benefit from these policies. Think about how many factories we've seen close down since NAFTA in the early 90s. 90,000 American factories have been closed down. That's small towns that have been blighted. That's millions of workers who have lost their jobs. That has to stop.
And that's your wheelhouse.
President Trump, that is my wheelhouse.
That's
I
where
grew
you're
up in a
from.
town where you had 10,000 great American steel workers, and my town was one of the lucky ones. Now probably has 1,500 steel workers in that factory because you had economic policies that rewarded shipping our jobs to China instead of investing in American workers. And that's what President Trump, he ran on changing it. He promised he would change it, and now he has. And I think Americans are going to reap the benefits.
So, Ken, small business, right? I mean, if you drive down Manchester Road, you see companies that are just gone, one after the next. They didn't. That's all from the Biden administration. But when you're talking about manufacturing, this is something that will help manufacturing going forward in the United States.
Absolutely, because when you say 90,000 factories have closed down since this inception of this whole thing with NAFTA, which is NAFTA is an unfair agreement with the United States. It really is. And 90,000 factories, Vic, not only that, it doesn't affect all the people working there only. It affects all those small businesses that you're talking about, because what they say, for every factory that shuts down, three or
that's right.
Many other small businesses have to shut down as well.
That happened in Fenton when they shut down the was that the GM plant that was in Fenton? Anyway, oh my God, I'm sorry. Whatever the plant was,
right?
In when
the Ford plant, I think it might have been
in Fenton. When it closed
Chrysler
down,
plant. It was a Chrysler plant.
Thank you. Chrysler plant.
Johnny said.
Thanks, Johnny. They said that for every job lost, like you're saying, every job lost, that's 3 jobs lost in the surrounding community, stores, hotels, markets, everything
Support,
like that.
Yeah.
90,000. I didn't even know we had 90,000, manufacturing places in this country at all.
When I first heard that, I thought, okay, is there an exaggeration going on here? No, there's not. That is a statistical number that they use for the factories that have been lost since NAFTA started.
And the comments that you heard there from JD Vance was obviously an answer to a question of, well, you guys ruined the stock market yesterday, 16 points. And what he's saying is we're more concerned with everyday Americans, not quite just the people in the stock market.
Right. And the stock market will rebound. It will rebound. It will come back. And it's just a matter of time, because that's the direction that this administration is trying to do it differently than any of the other administrations in the past maybe 30 years. They all said they were going to do this. I mean, you've got Barack Obama saying this is just unfair. We're going to take care of these tariffs that they're putting on us, because every other country has tariffs on us. Now, why is it, Vic, that these mainstream legacy Pfizer media people are so upset with us putting tariffs on other countries, but yet the other countries have the tariffs on us, and they've never said a word about it?
Never mentioned it one time. I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't know that till this tariff story came up, that every country in the world has tariffs on us.
Every other country.
And you know what? Donald Trump always says, we're getting ripped off, right? NATO, we're getting ripped off. We pay the majority of the money to NATO, and the other people don't pay their fair share. He's right. He's not just making stuff up. And when you said other people said they were going to do it, this is not this topic, but how many presidents said and promised that they would put the Israeli embassy in Jerusalem and never did?
Great point.
And he's the one who did.
He did it, yes.
So when he says something, he's going to do it. Now, Peter Navarro, we've had him on a few times.
Yeah.
Great guy. Talking about how, I'm sorry, this is number 7, Johnny. The stock market is going to bounce back. Go ahead.
The stock market, by the way, in the Biden regime, the S&P 500 went up, but it went up because of 7 companies, and 80% of the companies in the S&P 500 stagnated. In the Trump bullish market, which is beginning now, it's going to be a lot of companies. It's going to be all the companies in the S&P who invest here, produce here, and prosper here. And it's going to be a golden age. You had the gold rush in the 1880s. This is the golden age rush.
And I'll say it again, Ken. What I've learned about tariffs, I've learned in the past month or so.
Yeah.
And one thing I did learn, and we've even asked, people who are experts that came on the show, that prior to 1913, first of all, prior to 1913, there were no taxes.
No. And that was income taxes was supposed to be a temporary thing.
Yeah. But we survived on tariffs.
Yes.
Right. So I ask people, what's the difference between tariffs now and tariffs then?
Right.
And I think in a long shot. Here's the one I really want to hear from. It's number 8, Johnny. It's U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer talking about Trump and the other countries and their tariffs on us. Go ahead, Johnny.
You'll remember, Larry, from the first term, and you were there. We would argue and we'd get into these long talks with foreign countries about how they needed to bring down their barriers, bring down their tariffs, and they would just say, okay, let's have a dialogue. And even our friends, the European Union, Japan, all these others say, let's have a dialogue, we'll talk about it, and 2 years from now, we'll talk some more about getting it down. Well, the time for that is over. We have to export. We have to make sure that these other countries aren't exporting their own, lack of domestic demand to us and forcing us to take all of their stuff that they're making and that they won't buy themselves. We need to balance all of this out, and we need to do it now. President Trump tried really hard his first term to get people to do it through negotiation, and now at this point we have to take action for the American people, and we've done it.
It was President Trump's first campaign for president when he would say, Japan makes a car and they send it here, and we take it, and then there's nothing in it for us. You know what I mean?
Well, and not only that, but President Trump, back when he was not a president in 1987, I remember this because I saw the clip. In September of '87, he was being interviewed. He said, "They're eating our lunch." He said at the time, he said the Saudis and Japan, all they were doing was taking everything away from us, and we were giving it to them.
Right.
Our manufacturer said, "Oh no, you go ahead and build your cars over there. Keep them over there. We'll just buy them. How about that?"
Yeah. Here's a big boot.
And he was so mad. He goes, I can't do anything at this point. And he said, but I've been so disgusted at watching every country in this world has been taking advantage of the American people. And he put it like taking advantage of the American people's taxes.
Yeah.
So we're basically letting people around the world live off of our tax base.
And when you hear the terms thrown around so much, Ken, taxpayers paying for this and taxpayers paying for that. Some of the ridiculous things that our money, let's not call it taxpayers, let's call it our money.
Yeah.
Go into these stupid, shrimps on the treadmill and all these other crazy things that they have money in. And why? What are we going to learn from watching shrimp on a treadmill?
Right. And I think that's a lot what Doge has been doing with USAID and all the NGOs and that whole, and I'll say it myself, my opinion, that is the biggest money laundering scheme in world history.
Yeah.
Because you talk about trillions, not billions or millions, but trillions of dollars have been passed through hands in ways that we can't even keep track of them, and they're filtered down to the people that are running the country.
Yeah. And when you talk about, are we in the way now? Now all of a sudden we're in the way. But right now with all the investment in the United States, that number's in trillions too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Has Donald Trump got the SoftBank to here? Okay, here's how the
Yeah,
SoftBank.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I love this so much. President Trump does a news conference. He's got the CEO of SoftBank next to him, and he says, he's promised $100 billion for to invest in America. It is the art of the deal. How about $200 million? He says to the guy.
$200 billion.
And damn it, $200 billion. And then the guy laughs, ha ha ha. We'll see if we can do that. And then he comes back with $500 billion.
Yeah.
Right. So there's trillions of money, trillions of dollars of money coming into the country because of Donald Trump. But he's got to know what he's doing here, I guess is what I'm saying, Ken. He's got to.
And you're talking about that the CEO of that company, of SoftBank. I think what's important about that is, of course, the money, Vic, and I'm glad you brought that up. But I think also because of what he did, it led other companies, smaller companies, to say, wait a minute, if he's doing that,
why can't we, right?
We should too.
Yes.
And this isn't, listen, everybody, yes, the stock market's taking a hit. Don't look at that. Look at a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. This is going to take time for these manufacturing companies to actually get their feet on the ground and get producing here. But this is what we need to do. We've been needing to do this for decades. Since China, we gave up all of our manufacturing to China and other countries. We need it back. We need it back for the American people.
And what you're saying, Ken, I think is exactly summarizing what J.D. Vance said about, Wall Street. People on Wall Street have done well, and they certainly have, especially under Donald Trump.
Oh, they did, yeah.
And now we want to care about the small businesses, the regular people, the you and me's
right.
of the country.
The small business owners, they're the critical base. They are the foundation of this nation. When you have small business owners, like the guys here, you've got Sav-On. They're a gigantic business owner here, but they're considered small business. Yeah. And that's critical. These people are critical to what we do as a nation.
Yeah. And Nick, who owns this place, Sav-On, is the perfect example of what J.D. Vance is talking about.
Right.
Came here from where did he come from? India?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Came here from another country. And, he worked hard, and he started with one location. And then he's got the biggest darn liquor store I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
You could be in here for an hour just looking for stuff.
Yeah. And I think this exemplifies what's going on. And what Trump wants to do is this is the cool thing is that, you've got the left who's saying, oh, he's only for the billionaires. No, everything he has done so far from the very beginning of this administration has been for the working class person. I mean, everything he has done, they can't say any different because all of his policies are based around the American person that is working for a living, going home every night and then going back to work every day, and then the small business owners.
I mean, saying that we're taxed to death is not even it's not even an exaggeration anymore.
No, it's not.
What I mean? And it's like, oh, come on, you guys, taxed to death. We're getting taxed to death. I mean, this is why we're working on trying to get rid of the Missouri state income tax, why we're trying to get rid of the property tax and maybe personal property tax, right?
Right.
Because we're being taxed to death.
Well, think about it. You make your money, you're taxed on it. Then you're taxed when you use your money for something. And then if you buy something large, you're going to be taxed on that product for the money that you spent that you were taxed on.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you're taxed again annually.
After you've already paid the sales tax, you got to keep paying tax.
So you don't really own it, in my opinion.
Jessica and I could not figure that out when we moved here. We couldn't figure out what the hell personal property tax
What is
meant.
this?
We bought this. We already paid tax on it.
Are we renting?
That's what it's like. It's like you're renting your car. So anyway, again, I'm absolutely no expert in finance. I'm absolutely no expert in the stock market, and I'm no expert in tariffs. So,
but this is why we have people on who are, and when they come on here and they start talking about these tariffs, and we ask them the questions, they're coming back with things that we've already talked about. Actually, we may not know it, but we are. I mean, I can't claim that I'm an econ professor, but I did have economics in college, and this is all basic stuff.
Yeah.
Econ
101. Right?
It really is, Vic. I mean, if you talk to any college student today that's been through economics 101, I'll just only base it on my professor. His goal, he said, as a freshman here, my goal is to make sure that you fail. Okay. Yeah. Walters was his name, Professor Walters.
I don't get the.
Walter Johnson. That's who it was. He said, my goal is to make you fail. If you survive, then you're going to know a lot about economics.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Walter Johnson. There was a pitcher, Major League pitcher named Walter Johnson.
All I know is a
back in the
professor
day.
who wrote books, and he was very good.
Can I tell a quick Walter Johnson story?
Yeah.
Walter Johnson threw so hard that this is legend. I guess how do you prove that it's true? But back before there were lights in stadiums. Right?
Okay.
Think about that, Ken. Babe Ruth, all the Murderers Row, all those games were during the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weekdays during the day, World Series games, the place was packed. But anyway, so before there were lights, it was getting dark, dusk, hard to see. And legend has it that Walter Johnson wound up and he made believe he was going to throw him. He didn't throw the ball at all. And the catcher hit his glove and the umpire called it a strike.
Okay. But because he was so fast,
Exactly.
Okay.
And accurate.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, Glenn Jacobs is coming to town, and we are bringing him in for a great night of talk about making Missouri a tax-free state. That's just what we were talking about here, Ken. And it's happening at the St. Charles Funny Bone on April the 16th, oddly enough, day after tax day.
Day after.
With Glenn Jacobs. Used to be wrestler. His name used to be Kane. Now it's Glenn Jacobs. I like the name Glenn Jacobs better.
And he's over 7 foot tall.
He is. I wonder if he can dunk. We'll find out. Join us. It's free, but get your ticket, register at newstalkstl.com. All right. Chat box time is next on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Number one for live and local conservative talk.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. St. Louis's place to talk.
Freedom of speech is one of the anchors of our society.
News Talk STL.
April is big at Lit Cigar Lounge, the place to be to watch the Masters, plus a major UFC fight, and of course baseball, all while enjoying a premium cigar and whiskeys. TVs in every direction. Make your plans. Check the Lit Cigar Facebook for more details. Plus, you can order food from Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta, delivered within minutes right to your table. By the way, we're in the season for great patio dining. Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta has your table waiting.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
Are the days of a personal doctor gone? Not at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Dr. Randy Tobler to share how our design is putting the care back into healthcare. Plain and simple, our members, not insurance companies, get our exclusive focus. That means same or next day appointments, responsive answers to your concerns, and a no-spin, big tool chest approach. It's about time you get serious time devoted to your medical needs. To learn about healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
Far too many nations around this world have been ripping off the United States of America.
Our country is in serious trouble.
The people voted for major government reform, and that's what people are going to get.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
All right, here we go. Johnny's like, you're off, idiots.
Hey, idiot.
Hey, we're live at Sav-On Liquors and Wine and Cigars and great people and fun.
And beer cave.
Yeah, the beer cave.
Gaming area.
Gaming area. It's like a one
sipping station that we're at.
Go on vacation here.
Yeah.
Where are you going on vacation? Sav-On Liquor
Sav-On.
and Wine.
I'll be here for a couple
Cigars.
days.
And that humidor is just so big. Because usually humidor is like tiny.
Well, humidors, normally a humidor you can't walk in.
Right. You open the door, right, and you pick your cigar.
Right.
But they got a humidifier in there.
Right. A big humidifier.
Right. All right, let's do some chat box stuff, shall we? Let's do it. Hey, guess what? It's Friday, you bunch of dickheads. That's our buddy Grant. Tom says, good morning, freedom fighters. Allison says, happy Friday. Kathleen, wow, she's here. How did she do that? She's like a magician. Zero taxpayer funding towards anything to do with the NFL. You know, we talked to David Stokes early on the show, and I don't see why taxpayers should be paying for stadiums. Millionaire owns it, or billionaire, right?
Well, not only the fact that they're going to be making the windfall, the money from that, but they're also not being taxed for it.
Here's the best quote of the whole day, the best chat. Look at those handsome gents, TGIF, dickheads. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Handsomeness abounds here at Sav-On Liquor and Wine and Cigars. And
you look good in your tux.
Gambling, yeah, boy. We had to put those on right before we got here.
Thank Joey for that.
Oh boy. If you follow what you should, of course, follow Tim Jones and Chris Arps every day. They're in a different scenario where Joey puts their heads on
Superman running from
Cardinals.
Just the Cardinals. I saw that one recently.
Yeah. All right. Rumble chat box. Barry's in first. Got in first. Now getting ready to head to Chesterfield to see the live cast. Whoosh. Did we see Barry? Did Barry come in today? There's Barry. How you doing, baby? And then Ed Soyd says, well, you're welcome. Barley Biggs. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, no collections, no fair tariffs.
No peace.
Good morning to all you beautiful, mega, ultra patriotic, deplorable, Garbagian, degenerate, freedom fighting, God fearing, Vic head weirdos.
You go, Vic.
Whoosh. Good. Okay, I don't know. An FTI to the lib turds. It's tariffs on countries, not taxes on citizens. I don't know what that stands for, but I'm sure it's not good.
Yeah, no, if it's regarding the liberal,
yeah, exactly.
Set
I love
this. People.
Last night, Gutfeld called Jasmine Crockett Cardi B with brain damage. How great is that?
Cardi B with brain damage.
Cardi B with brain damage.
Perfect.
So
It's so perfect.
It's Friday. Happy birthday. When you incentivize businesses to produce in another country over the United States, of course, they'll go there. And politicians, no doubt, get kickbacks. Now,
yeah, that's it.
Again, breaking it down to the lowest common denominator, this is America. We're Americans. Make it here. So we buy here.
Right.
Stuff made here.
Exactly. No, that's why that's a great point on the
Thanks,
the
Ken.
stream.
Oh,
also,
you
well, you too, Vic. But on the stream, it's a great point because that's how some politicians are making their money, being filtered through other countries.
Yeah. So Sandra says they gave me prophylactic antibiotics the other day for my hand that I cut. No infection yet. The reminder that these drugs are from China. I'm not taking them. I'm sure I need them. Ed says, hey, the Blues have won 11 in a row. Holy cow.
Now that ties the record.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
I'm telling you, it's 11. Look it up.
You look it up.
Okay,
It's
I'll look it
17.
up. All right, I don't think it is.
It's 17 by the
All right,
Pittsburgh
all right,
Penguins.
All right, hold on.
What are we betting here?
No, I'm saying for the Blues record.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
But the NHL record,
It's 17.
don't think small, Ken. Think big.
Yeah, think big. Okay.
Think big.
All right.
We want the NHL.
I didn't know you were talking about the whole NHL. I'm talking about 11 for the Blues. If they've tied their own record.
That's like saying I got up early today. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Vic set a record. He got up early today.
Look at him. Look at you're a good. That's a good guy.
What do you mean he got up earlier than anybody ever? No, just him.
You did so good, Vic. You got up.
I answered all the questions.
Sounds like Joe Biden's wife.
They make it hard to give them when you really need them, and you know. Oh, somebody said antibiotics should not be given prophylactically that I'm aware of. I do know that if you have dental work coming, your dentist may give you antibiotics before he starts what's going on in case any infection comes. So
Yeah,
you can use it prophylactically.
But
Okay.
if you can avoid using an antibiotic, you should.
Yeah. And now here's another problem. If you do have to have antibiotics, make sure you finish it.
Yes, all the way.
You know?
Yeah,
because
you
people,
can't
I
leave
feel
it-
good. I can
No,
stop
I'm
taking
I'm
this.
not bad now.
Shut up.
Okay, Dr. Vic.
Trump teased Dr. J. Dr. Jess.
Yeah, Dr. Jess.
He's the one I learned everything from in my medical knowledge. Okay, just full disclosure. I don't have a mouse I'm working with here. I'm just doing the thing. What do you call
Yeah.
this thing? What is this thing?
I don't know.
What do you call this thing? The pinch?
The pinch?
The pinch?
Oh, yeah.
This is
Giving
not
it the
called-
pinch.
No, what is this thing called?
Trackpad.
Trackpad. That's what I'm
Oh.
using. And I don't like it.
Trackpad.
Trump teased yesterday that Elon found something horrible but didn't offer when it will be discussed. Key word, horrible.
See, okay, this is the kind of thing where we're starting to get a little bit numb to. When you start saying stuff like that, I want to see something horrible then. Okay, if you're going to say, oh, it's horrible, I don't know, we're going to release it soon.
Yeah.
I want to see soon something horrible released.
By the way, one day this week, earlier this week, at the end of the show, I saw an article by the Daily Mail, right? British paper, the Daily Mail.
Yeah.
Pretty credible newspaper that said that Elon is leaving Doge and that they're not getting along with Trump anymore. And we didn't run it, because we wanted a little bit more.
No, I want to find out about it, yeah.
And then we found out that it was Politico that ran that story.
Oh, boy.
So, there you go.
Way to go. Way to go.
Whoosh, my brothers and sisters.
That's like back when Hillary was saying that they would spread this Russia thing to Politico and different sources, and then they would come back and say, see, Politico says it,
Yeah.
so it must be credible.
The Atlantic, too. The Atlantic is where the whole Russia thing started because of the guy in England, Christopher Steve. Ken is in timeout. He cussed on the radio.
No, I didn't. Did I?
Ken cussed on the radio?
The listeners are very sad that Ken isn't as active on the chat because he didn't have his laptop with him.
That doesn't answer my question.
So I said Ken's in timeout.
Oh,
He
okay.
cussed.
I cussed. Okay, I got you.
I don't get it.
I've been chatting with them when in Ken's absence.
But Ken didn't cuss.
He just said that I'm in timeout because I cussed. He just used it. He used it. He went with it.
Okay. I don't understand. I'm always on my best behavior. Don't you cuss on this radio. Made it to Chesterfield. Barry Biggs is here.
Yeah, Barry.
He promised he'd be here. He was first one in this morning. Everybody brags about being the first one in. Made it to Chesterfield. The list, the files, etc. Could it be they found so much bad stuff that they're game planning because it could totally upend our republic with too many being arrested and it could cause mayhem? Boy, that's a great point.
It's a great point, and you know what? I hope it's true. I really do. It's weird, but if they're that bad, we need to regroup and rebuild.
Imagine the chaos with all of these people getting arrested.
I know, Vic, but
I don't care. Don't get me wrong, but it will be a crazy, dogs and cats living together.
that's all the more reason why I want to find out. I want to know. I want to know what's going on.
Found a fave here. Tough to find bourbon. What'd you find, Barry? You got some good bourbon? All
Look
right.
at him.
Wait a minute.
He's got a shopping cart. Okay, all right.
Where'd they find?
That's awesome.
Where did they
Sorry.
find the hoodie tux for Vic? You know what, Barry? You're a little wise ass. Okay, just sit there and drink
Look
your
at him.
bourbon.
He's got his
You're the one with the hoodie on, not me. I ain't got no hoodie on. Boy, I sound like Jasmine Crockett there. Ain't got no hoodie on.
You ain't got none.
I had an employee lose her mother to fentanyl poisoning. You know what?
You gotta say hot ass included in that word, though. You say I don't have a hot ass hoodie on.
Maybe he did cuss on the radio, Joe. Maybe you're right. Maybe he does go. It's going.
Time out.
Is that thunder?
I don't know.
It's either that or we're getting bombed.
It's a good thing that Sav-On had the ribbon cutting already.
So far, the only people adhering to cutesy time is over is President Trump and Musk. Patel, Bongino, Bondi, swatting gnats only. Come on now. Cutesy time is over, Ken.
I still will give them the benefit, at least Cash Patel and Dan Bongino. I'll give them the benefit and say that they're behind the scenes building something right now.
You know, Dan Bongino said it for years. Cutesy time is over, but it was on the radio.
Right.
Now cutesy time is over. It's a completely different thing for Dan Bongino.
It's real now, yeah.
All right. Blues are the new cardiac cards. They are. Another nail biter, but another win. 11 in a row for the Blues. Go Blues.
Blues.
All right. When we get back, the Wheel of Audio Clips. That's next on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home, y'all. And whoosh, my brothers. It's whoosh.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
When it comes to Trump's tariffs, there are the naysayers and those who agree with him. Where exactly are you?
Larry Connors USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Experience the exhilarating atmosphere of a Cardinals game. Join the sea of red in the wave around the stadium. Feel the rush of excitement as a home run lights up the sky with fireworks, bringing the whole ballpark to their feet. Nothing beats the thrill of watching the Cards get the W with the final out at the plate. It's more than a game. It's an experience. Visit Cardinals.com for tickets and info. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
There is no better way to enjoy America's favorite pastime than cheering on the Cardinals with your family at Busch Stadium. From the thrill of watching the game to the kid-friendly activities, food, and fun, the ballpark has it all. Make magical memories as you cheer together for every home run, double play, and Cards win. Your family's summer tradition starts here at Busch Stadium. Grab your tickets today at Cardinals.com. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Get ready for the big St. Louis Gun Show, coming to the STL Athletic Center in Fenton, April 11th, 12th, and 13th. This air-conditioned event features 500 tables packed with pistols, handguns, rifles, long guns, shotguns, ammo, and more. Join us Friday 4 to 8, Saturday 9 to 5, and Sunday 9 to 3. Admission is just $14 and is good for the entire weekend. Kids 12 and under get in free, and veterans and first responders receive a $2 discount. Mention Aaron sent you for $2 off. The big St. Louis Gun Show, April 11th, 12th, and 13th. More info at bkpromotions.us.
Looking for an underwater adventure or a scaly new friend? Dive into Tropical World Pets on Watson Road. For 32 years, this family-owned wonderland has been St. Louis's go-to destination for all things aquatic and reptilian. With over 7,000 square feet of aquariums, we're home to the area's largest selection of freshwater fish, including rare cichlids you won't find anywhere else. But that's not all. We've got tarantulas, snakes, and lizards galore. Tropical World Pets, 314-849-4020, or visit twpstl.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Number one for live and local
conservative talk.
I'm very angry.
I've heard a lot of people talking about gun control. You're not going to wave a magic wand and get rid of the establishment. This maniac is going to inspire the next maniac.
News, analysis, opinion.
But my focus is kind of a mental health crisis. Swamps not going to drain itself.
I'm just sick of the protesting in general, and that's why it's so very important to be prepared.
1019 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Thank you so much. Johnny, everybody, running the board for us back at the
Thanks,
station.
Johnny.
Doing a great job. Joey V here, of course.
Knocking it out of the park.
Joey's like, he's like an octopus. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's got his hands on everything, touching turning knobs, touching buttons, and he knows everything where everything is. So thanks, Joey. All right, it is time for our Friday feature called The Wheel of Audio Clips.
Wheel of Audio Clips!
It's America's favorite game show, The Wheel of Audio Clips. Here's the host of Wheel of Audio Clips, Vic Porcelli.
Thank you, Jamal, very much. Thank you, studio audience. Studio audience will be silent majority.
Yeah, they're today a little subdued.
That's because they all shopped here and they're all drunk. Coming to you live from Sav-On Liquors and Wine and Cigars. If you want to just walk in and say, oh my God, this is the biggest liquor store I've ever seen, this is the place to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And today's the day to do it. All right, so the Wheel of Audio Clips, we take all the clips that we heard all week. Kenny puts them on the wheel. I guess Johnny put them on the wheel for us this morning.
Yeah.
We spin the wheel, wherever it lands, that's what we talk about. Okay, Johnny, spin that wheel, baby. There we go.
It's a beautiful wheel. Big, beautiful wheel.
It is.
The biggest in the world.
I don't know how you put that in the trunk. Oh, no, Johnny's spinning the breakfast station. Oh, well, how about the worst, absolute worst person, not just in media, but on the planet? It's Leslie Stahl with a disgusting claim and question for somebody who was held hostage by Hamas. Go, Johnny.
The terrorists became very mean and very cruel and violent.
More so.
Much more so. They were beating me and starving me.
Do you think they starved you or they just didn't have food?
No, I think they starved me, and they would often eat in front of me and not offer me food.
My God, Ken. Do you think they were starving you or they just didn't have food? This is somebody who has been held hostage for how long? More than a year, right? Well, more than a year, since October 7th of last year.
Trying to lead him to say, oh, those poor terrorists that invaded Israel on October 7th. And not only that, he mentioned how mean and violent they were. She didn't bring that up.
Yeah, no kidding.
That wasn't
right.
Okay,
good point.
Forget the mean and violent part. But what about all that other
the
stuff?
Food that they
the
didn't
food
have.
They didn't have, and the food they didn't have for themselves.
This should be the end of Leslie Stahl right here.
It won't. It will not.
I don't understand the obsession with being behind Hamas. I just don't get it. They're terrorists, for God's sakes.
You're right.
For darn sakes.
For goodness sakes.
Goodness sakes. Johnny, spin that wheel. Help me out here. Get me the hell out of here.
I think you'd say hell.
Yeah. Don't you cuss on this here radio, says Sea Turtle. All right. This proves how nonviolent the left are. We're the violent ones.
Right. Well, I always knew that.
We're the terrible people. We're the violent ones. But listen to this lib telling people to go after ICE agents. Go, Johnny.
Shoot at ICE agents on site. That's right. If ICE agents are trying to take you or a loved one, shoot them on site. The way they're pulling up with masks on, with unmarked vehicles, no badge, no nothing, it could be anybody. It can be gang members. You have every right to shoot at them. This would be the best self-defense case. You're just in fear for your life. You don't know who's behind that unmarked vehicle or who's behind that mask. This is ridiculous. What is our country coming to? Do you like separating kids from their parents? Do you like deporting students that are studying?
Maybe they're gang members posing as ICE agents.
Well, there's so much there. First of all, he says our country.
Yeah.
Then he says, do you like separating your parents from kids? Well, you know what happens every day in America? If you do a criminal act and you've got a child in the car, say, for example, they separate you.
Yeah.
When you go to prison, they separate you from your family. That's a normal thing. So don't feel so bad when they do it to the illegal aliens in this country.
So what happens if some idiot listens to this guy say that and then is ready to shoot an ICE agent on site? Then what?
Right. Who's at fault?
Right.
And this guy should be at least investigated. I remember there was a time, Vic, when you said stuff like that. You were questioned at least.
Visited by the FBI.
Yeah.
When did this guy get a visit?
I actually read somewhere that he was arrested, but I don't know if this is true. So I didn't really want to say that, but I heard that he was possibly arrested.
Well, he should have been arrested and smacked around a little bit. That's just me. Thank God I don't run the law enforcement.
That probably wouldn't work.
God almighty. All right, Johnny, spin that wheel. We're having a great time here at Sav-On Liquors and Wine.
This is awesome.
Cigars, great place.
I love this sipping room.
Yeah.
Might
We saw it in action.
Right.
Oh, the wheel has stopped, and it stopped on one of the biggest idiots in the world, UAW President Sean Fain. Go ahead, Johnny.
There is plenty of opportunity, and I've had companies tell us point blank that they're going to have to bring product back here if those tariffs are implemented.
So it sounds like he's behind the tariff plan.
Yeah, if they're bringing products back to the United States.
It sounds like he's behind Donald Trump.
I think it sounds like it anyway. I mean, we know that his we know that the people that he leads are behind Donald Trump.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Just to, again, recap the story. During the campaign, UAW and Teamsters traditionally always endorse Democrat candidates, right? And Sean O'Brien, the Teamsters president, was invited to speak at the Republican National Convention, which he did. He didn't endorse President Trump or Kamala Harris. And Sean Fain was not invited to anything.
Right.
He must be like terrible to be around. He's not invited anywhere. And he even mentioned that most of our rank and file will probably vote for President Trump. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to endorse Kamala anyway.
I don't understand the point of that.
Now he's saying, "Oh boy, good thing Donald Trump's in office because these tariffs are going to help us.
They are and
create jobs and everything else."
Right.
I can't take much more of this. I just can't. Liberals are so stupid. All right, Kenny usually goes, Johnny, spin that wheel. What's everybody looking at? What's the problem?
What happened?
Everybody's looking at it. Staring at it. I don't know what the problem is. Okay. Oh, here we go. Here is, boy, this must have choked them to death trying to get this one out. CBS News talking about how Americans, they do approve of President Trump's handling of immigration. Go ahead, Johnny.
This is a story about balance, and the things that are going well in the public mind for him is his handling of immigration, which is still net positive, and his deportation program is still net positive and popular.
What the Democrats want to do right now is they want to focus solely on tariffs. That's the only thing that they have that they can complain about. They're eliminating everything else that Donald Trump has been doing for this country. And I got to tell you, he's been spot on with everything that he has promised so far that he is doing, and he's doing everything.
So you're saying before the tariffs, the left-wing media was kind of behind him? Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all. No, they were criticizing it, but they were, they just want to focus on this now because there's going to be a transition period. In fact, you notice Donald Trump didn't say, well, these tariffs, it's going to be transitional.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when the Democrats said that? Oh, it's only going to be transitional. But 14 months later, we had a 9.1% inflation rate.
Right. So it certainly wasn't transitional.
No, it wasn't.
All right. We have time for one more?
Yeah, let's do one more.
Johnny, spin that wheel. Let's do one more. Johnny's good at spinning that wheel. He must have ate his Wheaties or spinach or something. Did you eat your Wheaties, Johnny?
I'm a big shoe carnival guy, so I spun the wheel a lot.
Wow.
Going to get school shoes.
You got some experience then.
I didn't get any of that.
Shoe carnival.
What's that have to
Are
do
you
with?
kidding me?
Wait a minute.
You've never experienced a shoe carnival?
That's not the point. The point is, what does that? I said he must have ate his Wheaties because he's pushed that wheel really good.
And I actually gave credit to going to shoe carnival instead of eating cereal because I spun a lot of wheels at shoe carnival.
But because it's a carnival and the wheels.
You've never been to shoe carnival, Vic?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is Vic has never experienced shoe carnival wheel.
No, I haven't because I'm not a woman.
You walk into shoe carnival, right? And you get a deal. They say spin the wheel.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
And you spin the wheel and you get 10% off.
At one point, there was like a big top collar guy too. He'd be like, "Whoa!" And sometimes he would spin the wheel and tell you what the discount was going to be for next half an hour.
Yeah, I've never been to shoe carnival.
And you're missing out.
So I'm glad
you
two
stop.
ladies.
You stop.
Two ladies.
Shoe carnival has men's shoes too.
What, you think I would go there and get them?
I don't know.
I just give my wife the shoe size and she'll go get it for me.
Hey, you get to spin a wheel at shoe carnival.
The only wheel I want to spin is. Did we already spin the wheel, by the way?
Yeah, I did. It landed on a cut.
It landed.
There we go. Okay. President Trump on Liberation Day. Go, Johnny.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. Waiting for a long time. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again. Going to make it wealthy, good and wealthy.
You know what, Vic? I think this is a vetting period for us, especially MAGA people, because we're going to find out just how strong these people are who are supporting Trump. Because here's what happened. 2 years, Donald Trump said he was going to do what he's doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as he starts doing it, you've got some of these people that seem like they're fair weather friends that are saying, oh, we can't have this. I mean, he said he was going to do this.
Right.
Stick with him, okay?
Make America wealthy again. Mawa.
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 Mawa, Maha, and MAGA.
All right, that's all the time we have for the Wheel of Audio Clips. Johnny, get me the heck out of here, will ya? Well, this is Vic Porcelli saying, please help control the liberal population. Have your liberal spayed or neutered. All right. So I just want to talk a little bit here for a second about, two things for a second. Ethan, have you ever been to Shoe Carnival? Yes. Joey, have you been to Shoe Carnival?
I have, yes.
You?
Yes.
Barry, you ever been to Shoe Carnival? That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay, Barry.
That's what I'm
Brown
talking
nose.
about. Only the women go to Shoe Carnival. These three women. You think I knew that? You think I knew that Shoe Carnival had a wheel?
Look, he's not going to give it up now. Ethan, he's in too deep right now. He's just,
why would I step into a shoe carnival, wheel or not?
To save money.
My wife will take care of that.
That's
Matter
fair,
of
Vic.
fact-
I am on your side though, because if I could send some,
Oh,
but I
wow.
was a kid being drugged there, to get my school shoes. What was I gonna do? I was
Oh,
being
yeah,
drugged there by
when
my
you're a kid,
mom.
You gotta, yeah, exactly. You gotta go along with mom.
Well, I did too.
But once you grow up and become a man, you
Oh,
don't have to go to. Shoe
Yeah, I'm not
Carnival.
going nowhere near a
course
lady's
not.
shoe store.
First of
I'm with
all,
you, Vic.
If I say I need a new pair of shoes, Jessica will go online, and then the next day, maybe even the same day, they'll be at the door.
look at my shoe. Look at the ones I got on right now. That's what she did. That's what my wife
Online?
did. I found they had a box. I had a box sitting there
Was
when I
it
got home.
Shoe Carnival online?
No.
Huh. I'll be darned.
No, because online I wouldn't have been able to spin the wheel unless they have an online wheel. I don't know.
It's the first I'm hearing that you spin a wheel at Shoe Carnival.
I bet 9 out of 10 of our listeners right now would be like, "Oh yeah."
I don't even know where a Shoe Carnival is.
Okay.
I don't know where the closest Shoe Carnival to my house is.
Okay.
Are you mad?
You don't know? No. Keep spinning our wheel. We're good.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's all I care about.
Right. All right. So listen, I want to say thanks to Nick and everybody who had us here at Sav-On Liquors and Wine and Cigars. They were great hosts.
Yeah, his whole family, they're awesome people.
Great hosts. And we learned that he relies on his wife like the rest of
Like
us
the
guys
rest
do.
of us do. There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
Exactly right.
It's great. Stop on by. It's a grand opening. And it's going on all night, right? They're having the big grand opening all night till 11 o'clock tonight.
So you got 30,000 square feet to choose
So
from.
big, so big.
And you can go in the walk-in cigar humidor, or you can go in the giant beer cave
Right.
and hang out, especially when it's hot. Go in there. It's 34 degrees, 2 degrees over freezing. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you can also they have sipping areas right here where we're at right now. Have a little sip and then go over to the video gaming area.
Yeah.
And then you can spend a little money.
Yeah. Maybe win a
and
little money.
Then come back and get a little sip. Then go.
So come on by and be a part of the big party here at Sav-On Liquors and Cigars. All right, so it's Friday. It's time for the weekend. Thank you so much for having the record player on at night to listen to us this morning.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
Go, Johnny. You go.
New respect for you, Johnny. You bet. We'll see you Monday on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk. Barry, thanks for coming, baby.
Bush and see everybody.
But it just don't ease the pain. Going on the sick, don't do the trick. Sooner or later I'll be clocking in again. Someday I'll be able to forget my working days. Life will be grim because the ship is coming in. Everything will go my way and I won't have to say it on the weekend. Here come the weekend. Here come the weekend. My working week's so tough, I think I've had enough until the weekend. Here come the weekend. Here come the weekend. Here come the weekend.
Number one for live and local
conservative talk.
I've been a registered Democrat for 28 years. I'm really glad you're talking about this. You gotta love these idiots out here. They think we're all stupid, I guess.
news, analysis, opinion.
Totally agree on that. But I disagree with you.
It's over.
Very upset.
Thanks for taking my call. Thanks for taking my call. Thank you for taking my call. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Wanted to ask you really quick. Is there room on the bandwagon for me?
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Did you know Severs Equipment in Jerseyville and Auburn, Illinois rents Kubota equipment, and Severs will deliver the equipment to you? Spring is here, and Severs Equipment can rent you the Kubota compact excavator you need to put in that garden or get your ground ready for a pool. Kubota compact excavators can tackle all those spring projects and more. Kubota track loaders can save your back from pain by helping you move and organize quickly and efficiently. Stop into Severs and ask them about their Kubota rental program.
At Elite Comfort Experts, they don't believe in gimmicks, just guarantees. And now they're teaming up with Amana Heating and Air Conditioning to bring you a 99-year compressor and heat exchange warranty and a 10-year parts and labor warranty on a high new efficiency HVAC system. This exclusive offer is available on qualifying systems installed before April 15th. Choose integrity and quality. Choose Elite Comfort Experts. Call Elite at 636-887-0971 or visit EliteComfortExperts.com. Mention the promo code NewsTalkSTL.
News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
Looking for a hardware store that treats you like family? Welcome to True Value Schneider's Hardware, your local gem in Old Town St. Peters. For over 100 years, we're proudly serve you St. Charles County, providing everything from lawn and garden supplies to plumbing and electrical. Need a bolt or fastener? We've got you covered. And don't forget, we're a steel dealership. Whether you need sales, parts, or service, ask for Charlie or Jerry when you come in. We're here to help. Call 636-278-4461 or visit us online at truevalue.com/Schneiders.